And we are at a very special place today with a very special man, the man of the hour, Mr. Kirk Gibson. You started this brand new facility, the Kirk Gibson Center, to help people with Parkinson's, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. We've been working on it for some time, and today we're announcing it to the public here on Northwestern Highway and Middle Belt Road. It's a convenient location where we can grab the most amount of people within 30 minutes of this facility so they can utilize it regularly.
Well, we took a walk around earlier and we mentioned the pickleball courts that are going in. I saw yoga, I saw a music area, just tons of interactive things for people to do. And you got a very large facility here, so you're going to be able to help a lot of people.
Well, we're going to be here for 11 years, and in 11 years we hope to develop some therapies that are going to help people and motivate others to, handle their situation in a way maybe they don't understand they can if they choose to. I ask everybody that's listening, have you ever been depressed? Do you feel like doing anything when you're depressed?
No.
So if you got a place to come, whether you have other colleagues, other teammates, other activities, and you get up and you get moving, would you feel better, do you think?
Of course.
And that's what we're all about. It seems like there's a lot of negativity in our lives, maybe more so than it used to be. So let's counteract it, and this would be one of the facilities around in the area where you can do that.
Wake up, Woodward. We are starting off your day with a brand new crew. Meet Broder.
I can't control my arms sometimes. My limbs are just kind of flying.
Detroit Kool-Aid.
Fired up!
Y'all got Kool-Aid hot.
Fired up! But with the Wake Up Woodward crew, he's actually a part of the family.
Flannel Sam.
Ask me about my wiener! Okay.
Along with JB and KG. Wake Up Woodward gets you all of your Detroit sports talk. Every morning, 8 to 10 a.m. Live on Woodward Sports. A show for Detroit, by Detroit, with people from Detroit. Tell Siri to set an alarm, because it's time to Wake Up Woodward.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Wake Up Woodward, live on the Woodward Sports Network, Tuesday, October 15th, 2024. We are live from the Planet Fitness Studios. I am Flannel Sam. Kool-Aid will be joining us in just a couple of minutes, but as always, we got KG in the audio booth, we got Chase in the chair, and we got JB in the TD booth. How you fellas feeling this morning?
Hey, feeling good, man. It's a little cold, man.
Oh, yeah.
I don't like this cold. Excuse me. See, I already got the phlegm and shit in my throat, man. This cold weather, not really liking that, but it's cool, man. Got a day to actually digest everything in the sports world. Watched a little of that Scott Harris press conference yesterday. Some interesting stuff.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get to that a bit in the second hour of the show. But Chase, how you feeling this morning?
How's it going, everybody? Yeah, I'm not a fan of the cold weather. Went for a run inside on the treadmill last night instead of hitting the sidewalks, pounding the pavement a little. It was all right. I like running outside more, but I don't like dealing with the cold.
I understand. JB?
Cold weather so much. I think I'm gonna move down to Texas. Forget this. I'm out, y'all. I'll represent the Lions down in Texas.
We need you, man. No.
That's, you know what? I don't blame you guys at all. But speaking of cold weather, hockey is a cold weather sport. Yeah, I think we would all agree with that. It is played on ice. Hard-hitting analysis by old Flannel Sam. But the Red Wings, they played last night. They dropped a 4-1 decision at New York to play the Rangers. The Rangers, of course, were the President's Cup winner last year, and it's always going to be tough when you have a tough matchup like that, particularly on the road. But since they've played their first 3 games, and we didn't really get a chance to break down Saturday's win at home versus Nashville, I wanted to give you a few takeaways that I have so far from this season and from last night's game, and bounce it around the room if anybody wants to respond. My number one takeaway is that Ville Husso got put on waivers and got sent down to Grand Rapids, as he should have. Ville Husso should have never started a game for the Red Wings this season. His save percentage in his entire Red Wings career starts with the number 8, and he was terrible in the first game. He was taken out within the first 25 minutes, hopefully never to return to Detroit. I know people think I'm a little bit hard on him, but I have to deal with the Ville Husso truthers who can't bear the thought of Steve Yzerman ever making a mistake. Am I wrong, Chase?
I mean, I'm happy to see him down in Grand Rapids. I think you overreacted a little bit to the first loss of the season because you saw him bounce back and blank Nashville. New York's a tough place to play. They're a good team, so I mean, you gotta perform a little bit better. As Spenny said last night, power play's got to be better. But only 3 games into the season, we got 79 left to play.
But one of the reasons they did bounce back is because in Game 2, Cam Talbot was in net as he should have been. The Red Wings acquired him to upgrade the goaltending position. We know that he's a little past his prime, although he had a really great year last year. He's 37, coming off of a great season, coming off of a season where he started 52 games and was, as I said, very, very good. And that's kind of what I hope to get from Cam Talbot. I'm not saying for sure that he's going to start 52, but maybe between 45 and 50. The majority of the Red Wings starts in net should be Cam Talbot.
Yeah, so I know a lot was made about Derek Lalonde last year and, you know, some of the decisions that he made. This year they start Husso to begin the season, and now he's in Grand Rapids within 3 games. Is that a mistake on Derek Lalonde's part, or was that just a bad decision by him, or is it out of his hands?
I think it was a mistake. I think if you want Ville Husso as any part of your future, as any part of your present, it's a fool's errand. I know that he had a really good season. I would even argue a great season in a short sample size during St. Louis, which necessitated Steve Yzerman making the move. But he hasn't been good in Detroit. And I understand it's not 100% his fault. The Red Wings defense over the last couple of years has been their weak point, has been consistently near the bottom of the NHL, but when your save percentage starts with an 8, there's no excuse for that. You're not an NHL goaltender at that point. And Cam Talbot, he was the upgrade that I believe the Red Wings needed, and they got, and he pitched a shutout in his first start with the Red Wings. However, in Game 3 last night, the Rangers went with Alex Lyon, which I don't love, but I don't think Alex Lyon was necessarily terrible last night. I don't think the defense was terrible. I just think you went up against a really good team. Like I said, they were the President's Trophy winner last year. They pretty much bring everybody back, from Lafreniere to Zibanejad to Panarin to Trocheck to Kreider to Fox to Trouba, you name it, they're back, and they're going to be near the top of the NHL again. And it was just a very well-played hockey game, at least through 2 periods, and the Red Wings came out on the short end of the stick. Speaking, though, of good players, the Red Wings offense got effed sideways by Igor Shesterkin. And that's happened to a lot of teams throughout history. Igor Shesterkin is won a Vezina in 2022, could have won it last year as well. Just everything the Red Wings threw at him, he was stopping because he's one of the best goaltenders in the league. It happens in the NHL. I'm not too worried about their offense, except for the power play. The power play with the Red Wings has just been not good enough in the first 3 games. And I'm not saying it's doom and gloom or anything, but I don't think it takes Einstein to realize that a 9.1% on a power play is not good.
Well, that's
Even
not good?
through 3, that's not good.
Hey, it's Kool-Aid.
Kool-Aid.
Hey,
look at that.
Welcome.
I just kind of spawned in during the hockey talk.
Yes.
And the hockey guys were handling it quite well.
You know, I'm doing the best that I can. But that's the one thing that I'm concerned about when it comes to their offense. Chase?
I was going to kind of jump back into the Husso thing. I think, like, putting him out there game 1, like, we obviously got to find out right away whether this guy is going to be on this team or if he's going to be going down in Grand Rapids. And we got our answer really quick. We don't have to worry about lingering him around. He's on contract this one last season. Let's figure out what we got. If we can use him, cool. If we can't, get him out of there. We got Alex Lyon and Cam Talbot to play in there. He was hurt all last year. You didn't really get a good view of him. And they saw him all training camp. They thought it was worth it to put him out there for the first game. I thought it was no risk, no reward. Or, not a big deal. Like I said, he was going to play well. You felt like you had a good goalie or 3 good goalies, or he's not, and he's out of there, and you're just rocking with Talbot and Lyon.
And I don't hate that, because to their credit, to the organization's credit, they realized that Ville Husso can't play, and they put him on waivers, and then he got sent to Grand Rapids, which is where he belongs at this point. Again, I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but when your save percentage starts with an 8 and you've started about 76 games with an organization, his save percentage with the Red Wings starts with an 8 in about 76 games, that's a pretty good sample size that maybe he's not the guy, especially when Cam Talbot comes out and pitches a shutout.
Agreed. He's helped multiple teams get to the playoffs. So.
Sure.
Yeah, and I was going to say, and how much time do they really have to waste? Like, I get it. It's the beginning of the season.
But this is a season where last year we saw each and every game, every single minute, and every single point mattered to the point that they missed out despite having those wins.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, you know what? If you know that the experiment is done, why waste the time? Just get to a position where this team can know this is our foundation that's going to catapult us towards the playoffs and work from there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, and we'll see. But Sharon Kool-Aid, I like that.
I told y'all you look like him.
I just looked up and I saw that hopefully Sharon Moore gets the team together. Well, we'll see what happens at Illinois.
He's been glaring at like media members and press conferences so much more, bro.
Yeah,
he does not look happy anymore.
He does not look happy, but he's got a lot to prove. Jesus Christ! Don't have the best
time of year.
Don't have the best radio voice, but I try to bring you the best content. But speaking of content, speaking of not good content, the Red Wings on the power play, as I was saying before, they're scoring at a 9.1% clip, which means through the first 3 games, they're drawing penalties and committing a lot of penalties, by the way, but they're not taking advantage. And one thing that I look at, and I'm not saying that losing these guys was doomsday and that it's going to kill their playoff chances long term, but you got to look at losing a couple of guys to free agency in Shane Gostisbehere and David Perron. David Perron had more power play goals last season than Lucas Raymond. That's kind of what he was brought here for, to be that force on the power play. And Shane Gostisbehere, even though he had his issues defensively, which are well documented, he had 27 power play assists last year. That was damn near double the second most on the Red Wings. And so far they're struggling on the power play. I'm not saying that it's definitely a 100% correlation, but that's why you worry a bit about losing those guys. Obviously, they're not the top guys like the Raymonds and the Siders and the Larkins and whatnot, but those were really nice role players, and the Red Wings are going to have to find a way to replace that production on the power play, and you're going to need guys like DeBrincat and Larkin, who were your leading power play goal scorers last season, to step it up. And last night, I saw some moments where JT Compher was on power play 1, and I don't love that. I don't love that at all. I think that the Red Wings are set up to have a really good power play. If you got Larkin, if you got DeBrincat, if you got Raymond, that to me, at least on paper, is one that should score at a higher than 9.1% clip. 100%.
Well, let's rock, man.
Yeah.
And you know what? I know we got a lot on the docket today, especially with the Detroit Lions and where they go. And we got to definitely take a look at the 2024 Detroit Tigers, man.
Oh, yeah.
What a season. Hey, I see you, Terrell Lamar. You talking Pistons today? You know what? I'll give it a couple minutes.
Go ahead.
Give it a couple minutes. You know what? They're 2-2 in preseason. We don't take any victory laps on that. But there were some things that you can extrapolate already from these 4 games. Cade Cunningham finally looked like the Cade Cunningham people wanted to see in that second game versus the Phoenix Suns. And he went ham in that one, man. Almost put up a triple-double. He was I believe, a rebound shy of a triple-double. He had, or an assist. He was 25 points, 12 rebounds, 9 assists, 10 to 16 from the floor. Jaden Ivey, 16 points, 5 rebounds. Tobias Harris made his debut in a Detroit Pistons uniform again. 22 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 of 4 from behind the arc. And you saw how we can all work. That's my takeaway. The record, throw it out the window. Does this look like an NBA offense finally? Do they look like they can stay in front of people on defense? So my takeaway is the biggest one, Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey, they look like they work right now. Jaden Ivey is shooting over 50% from the floor right now, and he's doing it in a plethora of ways. And as soon as you saw Tobias Harris come back, did that stop at all what Jaden Ivey was going to do? No, it did exactly what we thought. It helped them both. That's something I've been saying. I believe this shooting, the floor spacing, and who Tobias Harris is, that's going to help out both Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey. That is my biggest takeaway right now.
I think my biggest takeaway is similar to yours. Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey know what space looks like. Wow.
What a concept.
It's a novel concept. But no, that's why you bring in a Tobias Harris. And man, I know that it's preseason. We all know that things could unravel, although I don't think they will. Things could unravel because preseason ultimately doesn't mean anything, but Tobias Harris looks like he is going to help Cade and Jaden Ivey immensely, and he's going to knock down a lot of those open shots. He is going to actually make the shots and actually get Cade Cunningham some assists on where last year oftentimes Cade Cunningham made assist-worthy plays, but the shots weren't going in. Tobias Harris, man, he's a guy that if I believe in Cade Cunningham a lot as a playmaker.
Yes, sir.
Tobias Harris could be a guy that averages between like 18 and 21. He's done it multiple times.
That's why, remember, one of our Swisher breaks.
Swisher breaks.
Swish or breaks.
Shout out Swisher Sweet.
This is tomorrow. One of those was who Tobias Harris can be. And I you know what? The more and more I'm thinking about it, just as he's going to help this backcourt, they're going to help him as well.
Oh, yeah.
So, I can see him being one of those guys that's averaging over 20 points per game. And ultimately, it's because guys like Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey, they're unselfish ball players who just want to win in Detroit Pistons uniforms. That is not cap. I get it. These guys get paid millions to play the game. And if you get paid millions to play the game, these guys are choosing to be right here. Think about all the stuff Jaden Ivey dealt with last year.
Oh, yeah.
And he's still like, this year it looks like, oh, what? Last year? Never happened. So, you know what? And I think this, one more thing on the Pistons. I see some people talking about it in the chat. We still got to wait to see how their defense looks during the NBA regular season. They look more connected, but I do believe one kumbaya that we can all, I don't care if you're a detractor, if you're a hater, if you're a slappy, if you're a critic, if you're just kind of waiting, their energy looks improved, remarkably improved over last year. The hustle, the energy, the getting after it, the rookies coming in, Ron Holland entering the game and wanting to get after everybody. That's something that I hope translates to day one of the regular season.
And to me, that's coaching. That's 100% on coaching. I mean, Monty Williams, I get it. We've said a lot about Monty Williams, but we all know he didn't want to be here. We all know that he pretty much demoralized Jaden Ivey from day one. And JB Bickerstaff, he's somebody whose hallmark of the Cleveland Cavaliers teams that he coached was defense and effort. And then Fred Vinson can come in and help some others out with the shooting. Looks to have worked wonders with Jaden Ivey, by the way. But these guys just look excited to play for a coach who's motivated, who wants to be there, who wants to get the most out of all of the young guys. And also to get maybe a renaissance year from guys like Tobias Harris or Malik Beasley. Guys who were good before, but, man, I'd love to see the difference already. And you're right. You can see it even through the TV.
Yep. What about you, KG?
No, I wanted to ask a question. Somebody in the chat, I think it was Cheese It 851. Shout out to you. Right. They were asking about Ron Holland and how he's looked so far since you brought him up.
Yeah, definitely. You want to see him start to knock down those 3-point shots. And you know what? His trainer and his camp, they're relaying to me that he understands that and he's working hard to get there. But you like a lot of the other things that you see. His defense, his fearlessness, his courageousness. He doesn't care if he's on the court or not. Like, he wants to play. He wants to be out there. Remember, he told us personally that he wants to win Rookie of the Year. He feels disrespected by this class. So everything I'm seeing out there on the court looks like a guy who wants to at least make sure that defense, hustling, rebounding, that can have him on the court day one. And then one of the more underrated kind of aspects of Ron Holland's game that I'm actually really, really liking is this. He swings the ball really well. Yeah. Whether that's pump faking the three and swinging it, whether it's pump faking, and we're all taught this, you dive in, you got to hit that middle as soon as the ball rotates if you're going to cut, even if you dribble the ball back out. He does that really well, and he's been a catalyst now for swinging the ball directly, getting an assist to the person who makes the 3-point shot. I'm not going to underplay that or undersell that because we've seen guys who largely, if they can't shoot the three, they're useless. But Ron Holland is showing that he's going to be somebody very, very useful.
Oh, yeah, and Ron Holland, it may sound a little bit crazy to say Rookie of the Year, but I'll tell you what. One thing that I mentioned on one of the Swisher breaks with Rod Beard is that when I'm talking about him potentially being in the top 5, I don't believe this class obviously has no Victor Wembanyama. That doesn't have to be said. Yeah. I don't think this class even has a Brandon Miller. I'm just saying, there's a golden opportunity for somebody to put up like a Malcolm Brogdon type Rookie of the Year season. I'm just saying.
Look at Sam coming around, man. We all know how he was on draft night.
I was here from like 8 in the morning to like 10.
I understand.
No excuses. No excuses. Play like a champion. I gotta own
Repent
things.
for your sins.
I gotta own things when I am wrong, and hopefully I am wrong on Ron Holland. And I said the next day that I hope Ron Holland makes me look like the biggest idiot in all of Detroit sports media, and so far, so good in that. But do you know where anybody should go if they want to up their fitness a little bit?
And where is that?
Tell me about
That's Planet Fitness. It's fitness that fits your budget.
That's also the Pistons' official gym.
Hey.
All great minds think alike, right? No matter where you are, there's a Planet Fitness close by. There are more than 50 in Metro Detroit and thousands more throughout the world. At Planet Fitness, you'll experience a squeaky clean gym that has tons of equipment, friendly, knowledgeable staff, and a totally judgment-free atmosphere. Did you know that all Planet Fitness memberships include fitness training for no extra cost? Want all the perks? Upgrade to the PF Black Card and enjoy use of amenities such as unlimited use of the Black Card Spa featuring hydro massage, massage chairs, and total body enhancement, and more, along with access to over 2,500 locations worldwide and unlimited guest privileges. For more information or to join today, visit your local Planet Fitness or planetfitness.com.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids, all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles. And with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
Divorce. Shout out Chris Platty.
Man.
If you got divorce, child custody, or other family law issues, you gotta go with KDK Law in Birmingham because you need excellence on your side. I'll tell you what. Excellence is certainly not going through divorce or child custody, but you can live an excellent life if you take care of the problems in the interim and get everything sorted out right and live an excellent life moving forward. And you've got to call Kevin and Catherine because they've got your back when you probably feel like you don't have people that have your back. You can go to their website at kdklawoffice.com, scan the QR code over my head, and take care of a problem that nobody wants to take care of, but you're going to be grateful for it in the long run. You need excellence on your side, and KDK Law of Birmingham is excellent.
What up, though, people? We are back. It is Wake Up Woodward. We appreciate you guys for choosing to kick off the day with the WUW Crew. Gotta talk Lions. Hey, TLB, word to Broder, man. It's
Talk
time
Lions,
to
bitch.
talk Lions. And you know what? We can't even just sit here and continue to glaze and just wax poetically about the victory, because we got to talk about Aiden Hutchinson and where the Detroit Lions go from here. And in this segment, we got to talk about there's a lot of different options here. There's a lot of them. And GM Flannel is going to, front office Flannel, is going to take us through a couple different scenarios over a couple different segments. The crew's going to break it down. We want you guys engaged as well. But we got to start with the big dogs. And people keep saying, just still talking about Max Crosby. He's never going to come here. Okay, sure. But then you got people like Dan Orlovsky, people on other NFL, people within the NFL world saying, you know what? Max Crosby to the Lions, all in. Make it happen right now. They're the best team in the NFC.
Dan Orlovsky even said that if you have to give up a first, if you have to give up a second, go ahead and do it.
Pick.
Dan Orlovsky also ran up the back of the end zone.
That's fine.
True. And he didn't say two first. I just want to state for the record, he didn't say two first. He said a first and a second.
I am so
first and a second.
I am so glad.
Don't discourage this.
I was about to say, well, Chase is going to discourage it because he's a wet blanket. But you know what? We'll get Chase's opinion after I present it all because I think it's valuable to have all of that. And I'm so glad that you mentioned the potential, maybe one first instead of two because there are some scenarios that were posted on the Woodward Sports social medias. And for these couple of guys who the Lions could potentially add at some point during the season to offset the injury to Aiden Hutchinson, these are guys that can step in and be just as good as Aiden Hutchinson already was, or even better. These are some of the best edge rushers in the NFL. And the first trade scenario I want to present is the Max Crosby one, if you've got that, JB.
Oh, yeah.
The Max Crosby one. So it says, who says no? The Lions would receive Max Crosby, a 2025 sixth-round pick, and the Raiders would receive a 2025, fifth-round pick, or first-round pick, 2026 first round, 2026 fourth round, and James Houston. The question is not just, would you take this? The question is also, I've got another one to throw at you. Take this entire trade scenario and make it the same, but instead of Max Crosby, Myles Garrett. Because I'll tell you what, the Cleveland Browns are a dumpster fire right now.
Yeah.
They are stuck with Deshaun Watson's horrific contract because it is fully guaranteed. There is nothing that they can do to get out of it, even if they cut him. So they're kind of in a position where they could have maybe, with all things equal, the best football player on planet Earth, maybe the best defensive player on planet Earth, and it doesn't mean a damn thing. So if I were Brad Holmes, I would probably go after Myles Garrett instead of Max Crosby. And I want to get everybody in the room's opinion as well, but I want to present why at first. And it's not just me saying it. You saw Matt Broder mention it on Woodward and Maine, and you saw even Mike Valeni mention it on 97.1. So I thought it was relevant. And here's why I think Myles Garrett is actually more gettable than Max Crosby. Myles Garrett, quiet as kept, is one of the biggest bargains in the National Football League right now. He's about a $20 million cap hit for the next 3 seasons if you count this year, 2025 and 2026. Did you know that in 2024, Max Crosby is the highest cap hit amongst edge rushers? Myles Garrett is 8th. In 2025, Myles Garrett is the 19th biggest cap hit amongst edge rushers. Max Crosby is 7th. In 2026, Myles Garrett is 13th amongst edge rushers and cap hit, and Max Crosby is 9th. So we might have been looking at the wrong guy all along. Myles Garrett was Defensive Player of the Year last season, and he is one of the greatest bargains in the National Football League. If you wanted me to give one beef with the trade, I would probably say a 2025 second and a 2026 first. That's probably what I would give up because 2 firsts is a steep price. However, if you're Cleveland, and I'll even include Las Vegas when it comes to Max Crosby, because Max Crosby would be an upgrade as well, most certainly. If you're those teams, that might be what it takes for you to get rid of your best player. So I want to ask around the room. I'll start with you, Kool-Aid. If you had to choose, would you say Myles Garrett, Max Crosby, or neither? And you can also give the answer of, I would change some things about the deal.
I feel like for this segment, especially since we're going through a couple different other scenarios, we'll just keep it at either or. You know what I mean? And we'll keep the neithers for later on.
Sure.
This is if you're talking about replacing an Aiden Hutchinson, neither one of these options are bad options. But you presented effectively think with my heart or think with my head.
Okay.
And that's where I think a lot of people are. When they think Max Crosby, they think the hometown guy that they have been fantasizing about being in a Detroit Lions uniform for a couple years now, before there was a necessity or a need. We understand what happened in the offseason. And though I would like it to happen, when we talk about the business of it all plus the impact, Myles Garrett just sounds like the more logical answer.
I mean, the Browns, like I said, they're a dumpster fire, and Myles Garrett, it's actually, I'm actually shocked at this point that he hasn't asked for a new deal, because he can easily stake claim to being the best defensive player, period, in the NFL. And in 2025, he has the 19th highest cap hit amongst edge rushers. And nobody's talking about it. Nobody's talking about how he is a steal at this point. And by the way, just so I have to point this out as well, the Lions have $34 million in cap space currently. KG,
yeah,
which one of those moves sounds more enticing to you, if any? You can definitely say neither, and you can definitely change some things about the deal if you would like I did, for example.
Yeah, both deals appeal to me. I feel like you can get Myles Garrett for cheaper because of what Cleveland has to deal with. I mean, they got that Deshaun Watson contract, so they have to cut bait somewhere because they're not going to be able to get rid of him anytime soon. So I think they're in a more compromising position than the Las Vegas Raiders, because the Raiders can easily just say, hey, we're not trading anybody. We're going to try to retool this thing, and they would have all rights to do so. But I don't know, man. I think I'm going Myles Garrett, and I would take maybe one of those first-round picks out. I think you can get that deal done without that next year's first. If I give them this year's first, that fourth-rounder, and James Houston, I feel like that's serviceable enough. Maybe even Hendon Hooker if y'all want to explore that, and maybe try to, look out for your future, because they're going to need to eventually. But I probably would go with that deal, but I'm not necessarily mad at the Max Crosby deal either, because if he wants to be here, and by all accounts, he seems like somebody that would love to be in this organization and be here long term, maybe I would risk that capital to go get somebody like that.
I'll tell you what, if you can do a first, a fourth, and James Houston, you make that deal for either.
Oh, absolutely.
Like cap hit be damned, because don't get me wrong, Max Crosby would be phenomenal, and he's worth the money that he's paid. It's just if you could get Myles Garrett at $20 million cap hits for the next 3 seasons, only having to give up one first, a fourth, and James Houston, it would be, I think, highway robbery.
Yeah.
Which I think is one of the reasons why our social team posted that, where they give up 2 firsts. And I gave the scenario of maybe a 2025 second and a 2026 first, along with the fourth and James Houston. But KG, Brad Holmes, man, I'm trying to tell you, he's a shrewd businessman, and if he can get that done, I like that deal even better than the one that I presented.
Yeah, he wheels and deals, and like you said, I would maybe, instead of a fourth, I'll give you a next year second or something like that. We can explore that, but I just don't want to give up 2 firsts in that particular deal, because I feel like you can get it done for cheaper.
Ooh, a 20. Now we're the wheels are spinning, because we're talking about maybe a 2026, a 2026 first, a 2025 second, no fourth. James Houston.
Hey,
I don't hate it. Although at this point, James Houston is kind of the equivalent of a pack of Skittles right now. I hate
Hendon Hooker.
And that was a sidebar mission, sidebar GTA quest that I wanted to ask the chat family. Are you guys 100% done with James Houston?
I don't know if I'm necessarily 100% done, because you need him to step up in some capacity. But as a trade piece, what is he even worth at this point?
Yeah, he's an expiring contract. We got to look at that. And if he ain't proved nothing through 6 games, I don't know if we're going to see him a lot, the rest of the way down the line. So, I mean, at this point, anything's on the table. I mean, you got to make these type of drastic moves when you're in a Super Bowl window like this.
Yes, and I want to be clear. This is something that could happen. I'm not even saying it's got to happen tomorrow. This could play out to where Cleveland is, I don't know, 1-7, 1-8 even. That's kind of what I'm hoping for, and maybe Las Vegas loses a couple of games. This is just something to think about as the time moves on, especially if you see the Lions clearly struggle and miss Aiden Hutchinson, which is also very possible. We have to be realistic. But Chase, I want to ask you this question. Are you thinking the Myles Garrett deal, the Max Crosby deal, neither, or I'll make a deal with one of them, I just change some things?
Between the two, I'd rather have Myles Garrett. I think he's the better player, and I think he's the better value. I think people are more in love with the story of Max Crosby, but if we want to win, and that's what I care about, is winning, I'd rather have Myles Garrett. He's a #1 ranked high school recruit, #1 overall pick out of the draft. He's just a quiet killer. Dude is a beast. He's a physical specimen.
Yeah.
So
is it weird that I almost feel like he's become underrated?
I know.
It's crazy. And he's coming off of 2 16-sack years and a 14-sack season.
He's almost in that TJ Watt category, where it's like you just know how good they are. It's like an expectation. When they hit that 16-sack total, you're almost like, did they underperform a little bit? They should have been closer to 18.5.
And of course, and of course, I'm not saying that you do that, and that thinking is absurd. But I get it.
Agreed. Yeah, we're in line with that. Yeah.
I mean, Myles Garrett was Defensive Player of the Year last year, but I agree. I said at the beginning, and I don't think that this is crazy talk. You know, in my opinion, Patrick Mahomes is the best player in football, but Myles Garrett has a claim to that throne. He has an argument. Yeah. He can at least make the argument.
Now, just to push back a little bit, Myles Garrett has been somebody that has always had somebody opposite of him. So not to say that he's not that player, that we've seen put up, all these crazy stats, but he's coming into a different situation if he comes here. He's not going to have that dominant presence on the other side as well. Do you think that maybe affects his production at all?
Who was the other dominant presence you thought he played with?
Well, I mean, he had, Darius Smith.
That's he hasn't had him the whole time. I think he just signed with the Browns this year.
Yeah, did he play with Clowney before, too?
I think for a year or two, but not his whole career.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, better than anything we're producing. We're talking
people
like
were
Josh
dogging
Haskell,
Clowney yesterday.
Yeah, well, I wasn't, but that's sorry. But I would say that what if he kind of has to do what Hutchinson did last year?
Yeah.
What if he's a guy that just is a constant disruptor, but maybe doesn't get the amount of sacks that you like, but still can give you, 8 in the next 12 games if they were to sign him now, but kind of obviously prorate that to however many games. He's the one. He's not the bookend. He is the superstar.
Yeah.
To me, there would be no drop off from Aiden Hutchinson.
I think it'd actually be an improvement. Maybe not based on this year's stats, but if you're looking at their career, arguably he is a better player than Hutch is having a better year, but Garrett was the better player.
Myles Garrett, right now, he is the better player. It's just the only reason I say the same is because different systems. He's got to learn some things. But Myles Garrett's just one of those guys you plug in, and he's going to be dominant from day one because that's what he's been his entire career. You said it. High school, the best recruit. College, number 1 overall pick. Now he's arguably the best defensive player in the NFL. And I want to get to JB before we go to break. And right now we're just talking about the big dogs. I see a lot of other scenarios in the chat. We will get to them because they don't necessarily have to do something like this. But JB, if we're talking about a deal to be made, would you go Myles Garrett, Max Crosby, neither, or would you make some changes to the terms of the deal that Woodward Sports Socials posted?
I mean, honestly, I got to go with either one. I would be happy with, just being honest. But if we're being real, and if the Lions actually presented that trade to the Raiders, I guarantee you they're probably turning that down. I'm just saying.
What?
I think they're turning it down just because they know what position the Lions are in. They're going to want a lot more.
How much more can you get? You got 2 firsts.
They want everything that they can. And I'm telling you right now, the easier grab would be a Myles Garrett just because he's aging and the Browns need to figure out what they're trying to do on their side as well, too. Now, if the Raiders actually really do want to give up Max Crosby, then maybe we might have to take on a Devontae Adams contract as well, too, to kind of help them out as well. So if that might kind of be in the works as well, but an easier, simple grab would just be Myles Garrett. But if Brad Holmes can swindle this somehow, some way, I would be happy with either or.
I think the reason why he can is because they're not desperate, and I know we're going to talk about that, and they do got options, which changes a little bit of what the Raiders can or can't do. If there wasn't a Myles Garrett out there, if there wasn't Hendrickson out there, if there wasn't some other potential options out there, then I do believe that the Raiders would have a little bit more leverage. In the summer, they had a whole lot more leverage. At this point right now where you can see, you know what, the Raiders ain't really that.
Yeah.
And where you're going from here, and this is your biggest potential chip to try and catapult your rebuild forward, I don't know. I don't know if they necessarily have the guns right now to kind of hold their place like that.
And the thing is, too, if you're the Raiders, if you're the Browns, obviously you love having Max Crosby and Myles Garrett, respectively. But what you want to do most is win. And I think right now, as currently constructed with these teams, with the front offices, with just how poorly, how much of a disaster and dysfunction there is surrounding those teams, they can have those guys and they're still not going to win anything. And that's a reality that a lot of franchises have to look themselves in the mirror and realize. And I think, JB, that's where me and you disagree, that 2 first rounds.
Right.
That, to me, is what it might take the Raiders.
I'm hanging up the phone if they want more than that. We might as well not even talk.
No, and that's fine. We'll see how it all plays
out. Right. Let
out.
your franchise burn down, Davis. I'm good.
But I'm actually, as me and you kind of agreed upon, maybe trying to get a little bit better of a deal. But to me, to kind of put a bow on all of this, if it's Myles Garrett, I'm probably giving up 2 first-round picks because I think this year, and the reason I'm mentioning this scenario right now is because these are the big dogs. This is actually talking about potentially mortgaging your future. So I have to put this scenario out there. Something catastrophic happened to the Lions team this year. Aiden Hutchinson was one of the guys that you can't lose and replace. You just can't, unless you do something like this, but we'll see if they're willing to do that. You never know what it might be next year because it is the NFL. Injuries happen. This year, if they lose Aiden Hutchinson and don't replace him and they don't win the Super Bowl, obviously you can look at it as, oh yeah, Aiden Hutchinson's out. It's a reason, not an excuse. He's going to come back and they're going to go at it again in 2025. What if next year it's Goff? What if next year it's Panay? What if next year it's Amon-Ra? What if next year it's Laporta? What if next year it's Branch? What if next year it's Kirby, who's proven to be a difference maker himself? That's why even if it goes to giving up 2 first-round picks, if it's Myles Garrett in particular, even if it's Max Crosby, I'm probably doing it. Does it make me reckless? Maybe. But what I saw on that football field on Sunday afternoon, before Aiden Hutchinson went out, was the best team in the NFL. Not the Chiefs.
Then it doesn't make it reckless if you go after a player that you believe can help you punch that ticket this season. That's what this season was about. It was about the Super Bowl. They said that immediately after the 49ers game. They said that. They said that all offseason. They said that from the coaches to the front office to the players. You have to keep that in rhythm. Ultimately, we're all going to have the ways that we think this thing should go down. We're going to talk about more of those. But I am grateful that if you're going to find yourself in this type of adversity, in this type of situation, that it's with the character and the makeup of the guys that Brad Holmes has identified, Dan Campbell has coached up, and the fact that the leaders of this team and of this organization, those are the right types of guys that if you're going to have to go through adversity and still succeed and still have that mindset, I'm glad it's these Detroit Lions.
Oh, sure. And that's 100% fair. And for those of you who think that the price was a little bit too steep, who maybe want to consider some lesser moves that you don't have to give up as much, but you maybe don't quite replace the production, I got you covered. Because I got a couple of different scenarios coming up that may be a little bit easier to stomach, although you might not quite replace Aiden's production. But when it comes to the Lions, the best coverage you could ask for on game day is Woodward and Main and the pregame show. Hey, Detroit, on game day, wake up with Woodward and Main, your source for all the insider information on the defending NFC North champions, your Detroit Lions. With insight from Detroit sports media legend Terry Foster and rising star Matt Broder. Get ready, Detroit, every Sunday, 8 to 9 a.m., Woodward and Main, brought to you by Tangerine Space Machine, Taller Your Local Long Drink, Sabbath Coffee, and Tullamore Irish Whiskey. And of course, you gotta go to the New Holland Brewing Company Lions pregame show, hosted by those men, those trustworthy men with making those men who make faces like that. Oh my God. They know how to talk Lions. That's for damn sure. And Neil and Sean bring you the best coverage. That is for damn sure. It's a New Holland Brewing Company pregame show. Every game day, Neil Rule and Sean Belegian bring you the best Lions pregame show. Sunday, 10 a.m. to noon on Woodward Sports, live at Second Best Bar in Detroit. The latest injury reports, fantasy sit-and starts, and the inside scoop on your Detroit Lions. Join us for every Sunday home games live at Second Best Bar in Detroit. Your official guide to Lions game day on Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports, brought to you by Tangerine Space Machine, Taller Your Local Long Drink, Sabbath Coffee, Tullamore Irish Whiskey, and Les Stanford Chevrolet.
To prove that you can get just as strong at Planet Fitness, we're seeing if people can tell the difference between our 75-pound dumbbell and a 75-pound dumbbell from an overpriced competitor gym. Okay, the old flick test, that never fails.
There's literally no difference.
Plus, you can save $28 or more when you join today. Wow.
Why would I pay more to lift the same weights?
It's the Planet Fitness Strong Choice Sale. Save $28 or more. Join for $1 down, $15 a month, cancel anytime. Deal ends October 10th. Planet Fitness. Light price, strong choice.
Can't get enough Lions coverage? Make sure you catch all Woodward sports shows every game day. Wake up with Woodward and Main, giving you the latest insight into the Lions locker room and press conferences. Then join the Lions pregame show, highlighting key matchups, injuries, and what to watch for during the game. Follow all the ups and downs of the live game action with our Woodward Watch Party live on YouTube and WoodwardSports.com. After the game, check out the instant fan and host reactions with the Lions postgame show. Every game, it's wall-to-wall, kneecap-biting, high-fiving, chest-pumping Lions coverage.
Hell yeah!
Only at Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
Woodward Sports, let's go!
Love Woodward Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
I got to tell you guys about that Tangerine Space Machine, the new easy drinking IPA that is out of this world. Smooth and juicy with refreshing crushability. Take your taste buds to the moon with Tangerine Space Machine. Grab yourself a can of this intergalactic haze of goodness. It's the official beer of outer space. I don't know if you guys knew this, but they know about this on the moon. They know about this in Mars. I'm telling you, you got to go and grab you one of these. Brewed by New Holland Brewing Company, straight out of Holland, Michigan, so you can always support locally. But if the IPA isn't your thing, you can always lean on Sabbath Coffee.
Hey, definitely. Why? Because Sabbath Coffee is the perfect fuel for your Detroit sports fandom. So grab a cup and become a subscriber of Sabbath Coffee Roasters. Whether you're gearing up for a big game or savoring a quiet morning, Sabbath Coffee Roasters has you covered with fresh, locally roasted specialty coffee delivered right to your door. Head to www.sabbathcoffeeroasters.com. Choose your favorite roast. Use code Woodward to get 25% off your first subscription order. Awake and unwind, support local, and enjoy game day right with Sabbath Coffee Roasters.
Let me just start here. I know that, there was an update with Hutch and his surgery. Surgery went great, which is all good news. I kind of mentioned this yesterday, but, Hutch is a captain for us. Highly productive player, great teammate, does everything right, and was having one hell of a game, one hell of a season, and so look, that it hurts. It hurts to lose somebody like him, not only the player but the person that's in that locker room, the leader that he is. But that being said, listen, we move forward. And let me say this before I get to what I was just saying. Look, it's 4 to 6 months. I would never count Hutch out, ever. So, yeah, probably, long road, but I would never count him out. And I would say if anybody can make it back, it'd be him.
What up, though, people? Welcome back to Wake Up Woodward. And we got to talk a few more of these options. But Dan Campbell, man, he had some things to say. And you know what? I love that he said that, not to count out Hutch. Man, those are some of the comments that I really, really, really liked hearing, because when the injury first happened, we heard that he had the surgery. We saw some people reporting that Hutch is his mindset from him, his family, and his people is that he's trying to get back if they make it to the Super Bowl, which is crazy. Then you hear Dan Campbell say it. You hear Dr. Pierce say the type of fracture he had, it was clean. The type of break that he had, that it does, and they did such a good job. And now what he's hearing is that there's not a lot of damage to the nerves and such, that he actually has a great opportunity to make a good return. And he's saying from his experience, he actually thinks he'll beat that 6 months as well.
Ooh, you would certainly love to see it. But regardless of that, Aiden Hutchinson is still going to be out for a long time, and the entire regular season, that is for sure. And this is why, and for the record, I don't know what Brad Holmes is going to do. I don't know if he's going to do what I want him to do. However, I think it's important to present some scenarios as moves that could be made to replace an Aiden Hutchinson, or at least attempt to, because you never know how this season is going to play out. You never know if, and I hate to even bring up this scenario, if reality kind of stares them in the face when they go and play Minnesota. They're a team that has 2 really good tackles. I'm just saying. I'm not saying I'm picking the Vikings to lose. I'm just saying if they're or to win. I'm just saying if there's a glaring miss when it comes to the pass rush, maybe that will inspire some things. Maybe that will change some hearts and minds. So with that being said, I have to present a couple other scenarios. And for the record, these are not mine. These were ones that I got both from Woodward Sports and from an article written by Mike Payton, Lions beat writer for A to Z Sports. The first one I want to present is something that is a little bit lesser than a Myles Garrett or a Max Crosby, but it would certainly qualify as a splash. And that, of course, is a Cincinnati Bengals edge rusher, Trey Hendrickson, who, in the scenario that was posted on our Woodward Sports social media, the Lions would get Trey Hendrickson and the Bengals would get a second-round pick, which seems like a pretty steep price to pay, but, Trey Hendrickson is a damn good football player. Another one that I think would be a similar move in terms of impact. This is one of the Mike Payton ones. This is Harold Landry. And what Mike Payton believes it would take to get Harold Landry is a 2025 4th-round pick and a 2025 6th-round pick. So a couple picks instead of one, but not a 2nd round, which is a lot more steep to give up. And for context, a 4th-round pick and a 6th-round pick for Brad Holmes could very well turn into Amon-Ra St. Brown and Malcolm Rodriguez. I think it's important to put that out there before we just say yes or no. And to me, because I want to go around the room, but I want to start with this one, I would do the Trey Hendrickson one. Even though a 2nd-round pick is a big thing to potentially give up. A 2nd-round pick could turn out to be Sam Laporta or Brian Branch. I understand that. I understand. However, we're talking about replacing an Aiden Hutchinson and potentially having a non-existent pass rush with him out. I have to give the scenarios. I just do. And with Trey Hendrickson, you're not necessarily mortgaging your future. And I said before that the Lions have $34 million in cap space. Trey Hendrickson is under contract through the end of this year and next year. His cap hit for 2024 is $20 million, and his cap hit for 2025 is $18.6 million, which puts him about in the neighborhood of Myles Garrett, which is kind of absurd in and of itself, but I just had to put that out there because Myles Garrett is really underpaid, and that's the move that should be made, but that's neither here nor there. But Trey Hendrickson, he's a guy who had a 13.5 sack season in 2021, a 14 sack season in 13.5 sack season in 2020, a 14 sack season in 2021, and a 17.5 sack season last year, and currently has 5 in 6 games. Trey Hendrickson right now is a better player than Harold Landry, and not only that, he is a better bargain. Harold Landry is a damn good player. Don't get me wrong, but Harold Landry is a $24 million cap hit the next couple of seasons. He is a higher cap hit than Myles Garrett. And no disrespect to Harold Landry, he is a damn good player. He would help this team. However, the fact that he's a higher cap hit than Myles Garrett is absurd and almost makes me not want him just for that, especially when I'm comparing him to Trey Hendrickson. And another thing about Trey Hendrickson, man, he'd be reuniting with his old teammate, DJ Reader. Mm-hmm. You see those numbers that Trey Hendrickson put with DJ Reader as his nose tackle in 2021 and 2023? And don't get me wrong, Trey Hendrickson proved in 2020 without him that he was good, and this year that he's really good as well without DJ Reader. But that, to me, makes me want him even more because he's certainly a really good edge rusher. He's not just a product of what's around him. So for all of those reasons, I would take the Trey Hendrickson for a 2nd over the Harold Landry for a 2025 4th and 2025 6th. So, all that being said, I want to go to you, Kool-Aid. If you had to choose, would you rather take the Trey Hendrickson deal, the Harold Landry deal, or neither?
You know what? You make the compelling case for the Hendrickson deal. And what catches my eye here when we go through all of these things is, hey, shout out to Galloping Lake 6 in the chat. Lions already gave up their 3rd-round pick for Carlton Davis. And that's where some of these deals, they start to come into a little bit different light to me as it relates to what these Detroit Lions do, because now we're not just talking about 1 2nd-round pick or in the deal for a potential Myles Garrett or a Max Crosby. We're talking about multiple picks there. That could be a lot of draft capital. But yesterday I said it, I'm almost to the point where the Rams were, man. Just go all in. You got to cash in on this Super Bowl window. And with that skew, obviously I want one of the big dogs, but if I had to choose, I go Hendrickson.
And that's the thing. With the Hendrickson deal, you wouldn't even have to go all in.
Right.
You could get somebody who...
Save you a little bit of that draft capital.
Save you some of the draft capital. With the money-wise, it would actually be pretty similar to Myles Garrett, which, again, is absurd in and of itself, but that's neither here nor there. But Trey Hendrickson, he's not the player Max Crosby and Myles Garrett is. But in terms of sack production... he's been one of the best in the NFL.
Yep, just as good.
Yeah. Been one of the best in the NFL. And he's going to be reunited with his old teammate. And think about this. Think about this season. You've got Trey Hendrickson with not the best bookend help, but you got a Lee McNeil and you got DJ Reader. Obviously, who they'd have would be a downgrade from like a Sam Hubbard who he worked with in Cincinnati, but still. But then next year, Think about next season if you have Aiden Hutchinson, you have Trey Hendrickson, and you got DJ Reader along with potentially a Lee McNeil. We'll see how that would impact the signing of him. But
and I'm glad you said that because Terrell Lamar, shout out to him again, he says if we go all in and we don't win, then what? I still, look, I don't want to necessarily have the cupboard bare from a draft capital standpoint, and it doesn't necessarily strip you clean that way, but it does affect things. But ultimately, when you got an Aiden Hutchinson coming back, when you have a front office like Brad Holmes, when you have a team culture that Dan Campbell has built up like this, they've been saying it for a long time. They're here for long-term success. That means that they already have a plan to be able to insulate themselves against losses to even their best players.
Sure, and for the record, I don't think that a Trey Hendrickson deal is even like an F them picks, as I said.
Not at all.
With Harold Landry, I think he costs a little bit too much, at least for me. Even though obviously all things equal, I would want Harold Landry on this team. It's just Trey Hendrickson being a lower cap hit than Harold Landry, that to me makes it a no-brainer, even if you do have to give up a second-round pick, because you would still have your first, and I don't think Trey Hendrickson would be catastrophic against the cap. So I want to go to you, KG. Trey Hendrickson, Harold Landry, given those terms, or neither?
Trey Hendrickson, you are a Detroit Lion.
Yes.
Hey, bring him home, man. And no offense to the Harold Landry deal. I would do that deal as well, but you look at it from a standpoint that Hendrickson is a more pure pass rusher than Harold Landry is. Harold Landry plays that, outside linebacker role as well as a edge rusher. And he has played under Terrell Williams. So that's really the appeal with him. He's played, with our defensive line coach, but Hendrickson, I mean, the man just produces, man, and he's played with DJ Reader before, and also Terrell Williams, like he said, he was excited to play with DJ Reader because, he got to play against him a lot in the AFC. I think the same would bode well here, man. You get Terrell Williams, a pass rusher like this, and I think that this Lions defense does not have any drop off, man. And you're doing it for a second round pick. While it's a second rounder, it's not a first. And if we talking, late round picks, I would much rather give up a second than a first. So I'm all in. Give me Trey Hendrickson.
I appreciate that because we're on lockstep about that. And I got to go to JB as well. If you're talking about potential edge rusher deals, if we're talking about guys who aren't like the big dogs, but are maybe a step below, would you rather do the Trey Hendrickson deal with those terms, the Harold Landry deal with his terms, or neither?
I got to go with Trey Hendricks. Like, I got to agree with you guys once again. Even though you're giving up that second round pick, still I believe in Brad could still find something else deep in this draft. I know we got rid of the third as well too, but still at the same time, I think Trey Hendricks is a guy that is more realistic to come to Detroit than anything else. So give me Trey Hendricks overall.
Yeah, and I see you, chat family, and a lot of you have this sentiment that maybe we should wait a little bit until the trade deadline. Mike Bell says at the very least we should wait till the trade deadline to see where we are. And just to kind of echo some of Coach Campbell's sentiments, he says that everything's on the table, which that's what you want to hear. But also the second half of this, he said, but man, we're not panicked. Brad and I are not panicked. This team is not panicked. It's next man up. And if we have an area we need some help, then we've got to help each other out a little bit here. And we may have to play a little bit different, and that's okay, which goes and locks up with a little bit of the things that we were discussing yesterday, because they are going to have to make do in the interim. And you do want to know that your squad can take some of these hits and still press forward. You're going to definitely feel the effects of losing at Aiden Hutchinson.
Sure.
He was looking like we say yesterday, one of the top 5 players in all of football. But I am glad to know that this squad is basically putting out there, yeah, we're going to turn over every stone, but we're also going to make sure that you guys know we're not pressed, we're not panicked, we're still going about our business. So this organization is just operating at a completely different level than not just past Lions teams, but I'm hoping that like a lot of our other squads here in general are taking notes.
Sure, and I want to be very clear that if they have to wait till the trade deadline, or if they want to wait till the trade deadline, I'm not necessarily mad at that. I think as the weeks go on, the Lions are going to get more clarity. If they go out against Minnesota and look like they haven't missed a beat, then maybe we're having a different conversation. I don't think that's going to happen, but it very well could. Or they could go out and have no pass rush and realize, man, we've got to do something. We can't waste a year of the window. The one thing that I will say because Trey Hendrickson at this point, we're all talking, we're all kind of on board for it. It almost seems a little too good to be true. The one thing I would caution against, not to be the wet blanket after I pretty much say that it's going to happen and everybody else would be down with that, is that I don't know if the Bengals would do it. Because regardless of how bad they've looked so far this season, you got Joe Burrow playing at an MVP level, you got Jamar Chase playing like one of the best receivers in football, and you still got Trey Hendrickson playing very well on a bad defense, albeit. I don't know if the Bengals are going to be bad enough in the next upcoming weeks. Hopefully they are. Hopefully they lose their next couple. They're 2-6, they're 2-7, and they're just like, we can't win as currently constructed, even with those guys. But that's the one thing I would caution against. But if he is available, that a second-round pick is what it might take to get him if you're trying to trade him to a team that has a franchise quarterback and has a superstar receiver.
I'm seeing people all over the place in the chats. Kiazi, don't you guys get it? Randall Small, Sam, you underestimate this team. And I'm seeing, because that's what I'm saying. I'm seeing some people who are like, you know what, this season we're totally screwed. Then I'm seeing other people who are like, what? No, this squad still has that DNA in that makeup. Chat family, I definitely want to know where you guys sit. Where's your confidence level at with this team right now? Give me some ranges, man. Maybe you're at 50 to 60. Maybe you're at 70 to 80. Maybe we can get a chat poll as well. I am very curious to see where you guys are at right now with this team as is, because you hear Dan Campbell, everything's on the table, but they're not panicked. They want to see what they got on this squad. They want to play a little bit different, which we talked about. AG's going to have to switch up some things, and OKG, you talked about the types of blitzing packages they can have, and Flannel, we discussed being able to have the secondary, the safeties being able to attack more in that backfield off the blitz. So it's going to be interesting to see, but I definitely want to see where people are at with this.
Yeah, and we'll see. Like I said, there's the trade deadline. I believe I heard it was in 2.5 weeks. The Bengals, for example, they got
so quick.
It's just past week 9. It's that's the normal time they have it.
It just feels like it's.
It feels like it's like extremely closer than what.
Well, I mean, it's week 7 now.
Yeah, I'm
like, it's where it's supposed to be.
And I'll tell you what. We as a Wake Up Woodward crew, we as a Detroit sports crew, we as a Woodward sports crew overall need to be rooting for even though. And I get it, because if the Browns win, the whole Garrett thing becomes a little bit into question. But I think we need to be rooting for the Browns to beat the Bengals in this next upcoming week, because I think the Browns are screwed no matter what.
Yeah.
If the Bengals lose this game, that might be their look in the mirror moment and be like, yeah, I get it. We have Burrow. We've got Chase. In theory, if those two are on the team, your window should be as long as those guys are on the team. But we just lost to the Browns. That might be the put some water on your face moment and be like, holy shit, we suck. But anywho, speaking of teams that aren't very good, there's a couple of other players on teams that aren't very good that are a level below the guys that I mentioned that, maybe the Lions are looking to do a little bit more bargain shopping. It would cost a little bit to get those guys too and some picks, but I will tell you the guys when we come back. But first, tell us about Lady Jane's.
Hey, I definitely will. Walking any Lady Jane's haircuts for men today, open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy a $20 haircut special. Scalp massage, hot lather neck shave, nasties, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Just scan that QR code.
Hot leather.
Find it somewhere on the screen there. and you will get your coupon today. Lady J's Haircuts for Men. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins are always welcome. It's wicked awesome.
And while you're enjoying that hot lather shades, play some bets.
Hot leather for some people.
With Caesar Sportsbook, the official sportsbook of us here at Woodward Sports. Scan the QR code on screen. Use code Woodward1000. You can deposit up to $1,000, and all you got to do is place a minimum of $20 bet. If that bet doesn't hit, they will put it right back into your account. No joke. Scan the QR code on screen. Use code Woodward1000. Make some money while you're getting your hair cut.
Buy more leather pants.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles, and with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
Game is won in the trenches, and our big fellas don't mess around. The Woodward Heavyweights on Woodward Sports.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
Attention sports fans, don't miss out on expert sports injury insights with Dr. Jeff Pierce of Michigan Sports and Spine. Join Dr. Pierce every Tuesday on Big D Energy and every Thursday on Ermanni and Edwards. And he made an emergency appearance yesterday to break down the Aiden Hutchinson injury, and it's blowing up right now. He had a lot of informative things to say. He is the medical director of Michigan Sports and Spine, so definitely tap in, go back and look at that content as well. But listen, trust the guy that DMAC trusts. Dr. Jeff Pierce, he's here to keep you in the game and performing at your best. For more information, visit MichiganSportsandSpine.com or call 248-426-9944. What up, though, people? Welcome back to Wake Up Woodward. We appreciate you guys for kicking off the day with the WUW Crew. And you know what? We got to talk a little bit more about some of these options. But first, I need you guys to go ahead and satisfy that like button, man. Go ahead and treat it right. Treat it nice. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, you know what time it is, man. Hey, I know we a little bit down about Aiden and the Tigers, man, but we need to pick that energy up, man. So just go ahead and plug that phone in real nice and slow. It might get a little steamy, so watch yourself now. Don't want to hurt nobody.
Hey, you know what? We got to talk about some of these even more affordable. Some of your bargain bin options, maybe. But Jeremy Fowler of ESPN, 34 minutes ago, he says that the Lions plan to sign defensive end. Hey, I love this name. Isaiah Thomas off the Bengals practice squad per sources. Former Browns draft pick gives Detroit some much-needed edge rush help. And Adam Schefter also commented, this is how it should be. Detroit can't go wrong turning to another Isaiah Thomas. So everything is all solved. We don't got to do this segment, right?
I don't know about that.
I don't know about that.
Man, I don't know about
I
that.
don't know about that. Bodies at this point. Bodies, because the lead was. I mean, the other news was that Kyle Peko is also out for the season.
And
so,
the Jets, breaking news, are giving pass rusher Hassan Reddick a short window to seek a trade.
Oh, well.
I bet.
Yeah. Maybe more on that as we get on later into the week, because that could be an intriguing option as well. That's a guy who, what a trade that was for the Jets.
Also, this just in as well, too, they just threw another flag on the Jets and Bills game.
Yes. That was painful to watch at times.
Oh,
that was painful to watch at times.
The Jets was always going to lose.
Good. This is what I wanted to see.
This
is what I
you
wanted.
Damn right. You know I'm reveling in that shit. I love it.
I love it.
it.
Everyone has to talk about a Hail Mary the game that he lost. I love it.
And it's funny because out of anybody at the Woodward Sports office, I'm considered the second Jets fan, which is absurd after Maz. But for the record,
you do love some A-Rod.
I am a bigger Josh Allen slappy than everybody except for, probably like Aiden and Patrick Mahomes. So I was happy about that Buffalo Bills win as well. But that's neither here nor there. There are a couple other options that were bantered about in Mike Payton's article that I thought were very intriguing. And I want to get everybody's opinion on which one they would do, if any. Let's start out with Jacksonville Jaguars' former number 1 overall pick, Trayvon Walker. Trayvon Walker.
That's a familiar name.
Absolutely, and thank you, JB. In this scenario, the Lions would get Trayvon Walker, and the Jaguars would get a 2025 4th-round pick and a 2026 4th-round pick. That's a pretty steep price, but Trayvon Walker, he's a guy who I think at this stage in his career, he's not somebody that's going to get a long-term deal before his 5th-year option is picked up, because he's very, very good, but he's not like a superstar edge rusher like an Aiden Hutchinson. But he is very, very good, and he is on a rookie contract, albeit a number 1 overall pick rookie contract. They don't all work the same, so he's going to be a little bit more expensive than you think when you typically hear rookie contract. But he's a guy who last season had 10 sacks. This year has 5 sacks in 6 games. Is a very talented kind of speed edge rusher. Somebody who lines up in the 2-point stance, I think, is where he's fit best. Although he can do both. He can line up in the 3-point as well. With Trayvon Walker, if there's anything that's concerning for this year, is that he is not the man. He is the bookend. He is the bookend to Josh Hines Allen, and I do think that helps a Trayvon Walker with his production. But as I said before, he's insanely talented. He's been productive, and he's put up. And you'd have an opportunity after this year, going into next year, to have the number 1 overall pick and the number 2 overall pick from the same draft on the same team, which could be deadly. I think Trayvon Walker would work really well opposite Aiden Hutchinson. I just question how much he would move the needle this year. And the other option is Zadarius Smith, who is about as opposite of Trayvon Walker as you can get in terms of a stop on the highway, because Zadarius Smith is 32 years old. You think his best years are behind him, and in the scenario the Lions would get Zadarius Smith and the Browns would get a 2025 fifth round pick, and Zadarius Smith actually would be cheaper than Trayvon Walker. But the reason that I would pick Trayvon Walker is because I don't think Zadarius Smith moves the needle barely at all this season. And that's one of the points of making this trade. You need somebody who's going to go in and, whether easy or not, is going to just have to be Superman sometimes. Just going to have to be that elite pass rusher in spurts. And I think that Trayvon Walker can do that. Do I think he adequately replaces Aiden Hutchinson? Of course not. Do I think that him by himself would move the needle to where they're the exact same defense like a Myles Garrett would? Absolutely not. But he would be an upgrade. And I do think that he's somebody that defenses would have to account for. And in a perfect world, you could get a Trayvon Walker and then maybe somebody off the scrap heap. Somebody else who's maybe not as big of a name. Yeah. So for all of those reasons, I would rather do the Trayvon Walker deal than the Zadarius Smith deal. And I will present this to the room as I did with the other ones. Kool-Aid.
Yes, sir.
If you had to choose, would you go the Trayvon Walker deal that I presented, the Zadarius Smith deal that I presented, which were from the Mike Payton article, by the way, both of them as well, Detroit Lions beat reporter for A to Z Sports, or neither?
Denver Blair says Trayvon also has longer arms than Aiden.
He does. Famously. Probably why he got picked one.
Right. But no, you got to go to Trayvon Raw. I still want one of the big dogs. I kind of love the Myles Garrett, just kind of dream. But if you got to choose between this, you got to go with Trayvon Walker.
You got to present all the scenarios because you never know what's going to happen. But KG, Trayvon Walker, Zadarius Smith under the scenarios that were presented in the Mike Payton article, or neither?
Definitely need somebody, not going neither. I would do Zadarius Smith.
Okay.
Because, I mean, Trayvon Walker, don't get me wrong, he's not a bad player by any means, and I know he's coming off a 10-sack season, but I just haven't really seen the consistency from him. And like you said, if you acquire him, he's not really, I don't think, making an impact like right away. You know, he's not going to come in and fill that void that Aiden left. Just because of the style of player that he is. I would much rather have somebody with a little bit of veteran experience, and I do worry about Zadarius Smith's age, but overall, if you can get him for a 5th round pick, that's not a lot of capital to risk, and it's high reward, low risk to me, so I'd much rather do that deal.
And I don't blame you at all, because Zadarius Smith, it does cost significantly less.
Yeah.
Because he's somebody that you're just going to use for the duration of his contract, and then he might be retired at that point.
Yeah, but he's still productive, though.
He's still productive. And with Trayvon Walker, he's somebody that in a perfect pipe dream world, maybe him and Aiden are both the future. I don't know how they would work that cap-wise, but that's not for me to decide right now. But you would have them for this season and probably the next 2 to be the bookend for the next 2 and to maybe be a Band-Aid this year. JB Smoove. Trayvon Walker with the scenario from the Mike Payton article, Zadarius Smith with the scenario from the Mike Payton article, or neither?
Well, I got to agree with KG. You're definitely not going with neither. So give me Trayvon Walker on this one. He's young. I know the consistency, you still want to see a lot more from him as well, too. But I think he can grow and, get a lot better with this franchise, especially if you give him a year with this team and then you bring Aiden back along as well, too, to help him along that pass. I think definitely this could be your future, as you said as well, Sam. Like, you got Aiden and Trayvon Walker. Like,
yeah,
you can't ask for anything else. You got the youth there as well, too. This could be your future, so give me Trayvon Walker.
I think what they wanted James Houston to be is what Trayvon Walker is.
Yeah.
And I think Trayvon Walker's a more well-rounded player.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason why one was number 1 overall pick and one was a 6th rounder.
Of course.
That doesn't have to, that's Captain Obvious.
But when you see them working James Houston at linebacker, that's kind of what they wanted. They wanted a Trayvon Walker type player.
And I do wonder,
for the cheap.
if you went after a player like a Trayvon Walker, who's still young, and we want to see some of that consistency stuff, you do got a guy here in Terrell Williams who I think can make an impact on his young career.
Of course. And that's a factor that I maybe failed to take into account as much, because Terrell Williams, I know that Dan Campbell thinks so, that he may very well be the best D-line coach in the NFL. I wouldn't argue against it, that's for sure. And we've seen the impact that he's already had on certain players, like an Aiden Hutchinson has taken it to a step that some people probably didn't even think he could get to. And Levi Onwuzurike looks like he's finally living up to the drafts. To
see
his
Aleem
draft
getting
position.
after it.
Yeah, absolutely. Aleem had a great game.
Yeah.
DJ Reader obviously is doing DJ Reader things, but it's scenarios that I had to present on every different level, because as much as I think all of us believe in the Lions, believe in a lot of their talent, and believe in what they've built, Aiden Hutchinson is about as bad of a loss as you could have expected to take on this season.
Yeah.
Maybe not a Jared Goff level, but he might be the second one that you wouldn't want to lose, and you lost him at least for the regular season. And I do think it would behoove Brad Holmes and the Lions to do something. We'll see what they do. There's options all over. It doesn't have to be Myles Garrett, although I'd love it. It could be somebody even like a Zadarius Smith, where there would be no future mortgaging whatsoever.
Or one of your players, Hassan Reddick.
Sure.
From the Jets.
Sure. One of my players.
Yeah. AH411 says Flannel is wearing a green flannel shirt for the Jets.
I am not. I don't know how this narrative of me being like a Jets slappy has become. Blame Neil. Neil is the greatest narrative maker I've ever seen. Respect, but that is what he does.
Man, let's go. You know what? We got to get into the 2024 Detroit Tigers, who made October in the D a hype reality. But we got to ask ourselves, man, especially as expectations changed as they progressed into the playoffs and through it. You know what? Was this a success? Are you feeling a little bit disappointed with how it ended? A little bit of both. Mm-hmm. We'll get into it, man. We got to give the Tigers their platform. But first, now more than ever, it is critical for you to have your current insurance provider reviewed. Why? Swiss will make sure, they'll protect you. They'll make sure that your current guys, they're not slipping in anything extra.
We ain't going nowhere.
No, but listen to JB Smith. Call Mark at Swiss Insurance today, 313-530-1698. Visit them online, SwissINS.com. Detroit Bad Boys.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles. And with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
It's bear hunting season, and Dan Campbell is hungry for some kneecaps.
If you can just get a hold of them and you start dragging their ass out to the deep, dark abyss, you can drown them.
The Kings of the North are back for another year of the brand new Lions. Make sure you're locked in to Detroit's #1 sports network for all the news and info on your Detroit Lions.
Woodward Sports, let's go.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
Have you ever thought about volunteering but don't know where to start? Start with the Salvation Army's Red Kettle campaign. Visit registertoring.com to sign up for shifts. You'll have an option to choose a 2-hour session at a physical Red Kettle site or participate in a virtual bell ringing shift to raise funds from the comfort of your own home. Virtual bell ringers can sign up and begin raising funds at any time. Traditional bell ringing begins on Friday, November 7th and runs through Christmas Eve, excluding Thanksgiving and Sundays. To sign up for volunteer shifts, visit registertoring.com.
And while you're helping out the Salvation Army, head over to woodwardsports.com and click on that shop tab. New designs are dropping every single week for you. You know you got the Stoke Not Scared. You know you got the Boo Them Kids. You know I'm repping one Mr. Jared Goff because it is golf season. And you can't forget about those Tigers. What a hell of a run they had as well, too. We got everything for you to get you swagged out for this season and the upcoming season. Head over to woodwardsports.com, click on that shop tab. We got everything you need, baby.
Everything you need, baby. What up, Don? Welcome back. It's Wake Up Woodward, and we appreciate you guys for being here this morning. Hoping that it's starting off well. Hey, the energy in the chat has been electric, so for us, it's been a good show and a good time. It's never easy having to digest the injury to Aiden Hutchinson, but the Detroit Lions, they still have their eyes on the prize, and they're not panicked, man. But we got to talk about the other Jungle Cats, man.
Yeah.
That's the Detroit Tigers. They finished the season 10 games over 500 after 162. That's 86-76. They pushed the AL Central Division champions to the limit in the ALDS. And as they got into this playoffs, the expectations to me started to change a little bit to the point that, yes, you have to call the season a success. But does it feel disappointing realizing that they probably let this one slip at home? And I think with where you're talking about heading, you know, if I just thought this was a flash in the pan, cute season, they still got young players that they have to coach up and this, that, and the other, I'd probably just be like, you know what, kumbaya. But realizing that this squad is going somewhere, I want to feel disappointed. I want it to burn. I want it to be a chip on their shoulders. And I want this to be something that helps to be a foundation of where this team can go in the seasons to come.
This is what's so tough because both things can be true.
Yeah.
Obviously, on a macro level, I am thrilled with what the Tigers did. I mean, coming into the season, people forget there were some questions about, could Riley Green stay healthy a whole season? Could Tarek Skubal stay healthy a whole season? Well, Tarek Skubal answered all those questions with the Cy Young and then 2 shutouts in the playoffs. We don't have to talk about that last outing. He did certainly enough to get some grace for that. And Riley Green, 137 games of all-star level baseball. You love to see that. You know that he could maybe be a first or second best player on a playoff, maybe World Series team. You've seen Colt Keith. He got signed. Scott Harris took a leap of faith in him, and Colt Keith, I would say, lived up. You've got a guy like Parker Meadows, who looked like he played himself out of the Tigers' future, and now he's back in. You see a guy like Tyler Holton look like he's a bullpen star. Trey Sweeney like he could at least be a stopgap shortstop. Matt Vierling. I mean, Kerry Carpenter, when he's healthy, which is another conversation, was an 1,000 OPS guy against left-handed pitching, or right-handed pitching, my fault, right-handed pitching. So all of that is all well and good. My point is that the Tigers have a lot of good players to be excited about.
Yeah.
Every single player I mentioned, besides maybe Trey Sweeney, I think has future all-star potential. And Tarek Skubal and Riley Green have already done it.
Yeah.
So in that regard, that season was an absolute success. This team made the playoffs, and I didn't even mention A.J. Hinch looking like one of the best managers I've ever seen over the course of their run starting in August, which, again, I never lost faith. Don't let video evidence sway you, but anywho, it's just there's too much that was a success for me to say that this season was a failure.
Yeah, it definitely is not a failure. I think everybody who believes in what this team can be should be feeling disappointed because I don't believe that the ride should have stopped or ended where it did. And I think that Skubal should have been on the mound for ALCS Game 1. That's where this thing,
because they should have won Game 4.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And that's what I'm saying. Because think about it. For moving forward, we're hoping that they take these things as learning lessons. They should be saying, we want to see our team take that growth. And sometimes it's also about the mentality. And we know, okay, now you've been there. Next year, have that mentality. Approach this thing different. They're going to understand how to even prepare now for these types of moments. And who better than the coaching staff that they have here? Lockup Vetter, lifetime type deal, by the way. But that's what I like about this Tigers team is the fact that my disappointment comes from the belief of knowing they should have went further. And beyond that, I know that this team is in a good place as they move forward.
Oh yeah, they certainly are, and that's where the optimism comes from. It was, as KG always said, an evaluation year, and the evaluation was good.
Yeah.
You've got guys who you were not sure about at various parts in the season really come on, including, I even got to give these guys credit. Jake Rogers, I think, played his way in the playoffs to being potentially a part of this team's future.
Yeah.
Not saying a huge part, but Tarek Skubal obviously likes throwing it to him. Even a guy like Justin Henry Malloy. I think his season with the big club, his regular season, was up and down. He even played his way into the minors in early September. But the playoffs that he had, he was, what did he hit, like 600, have almost a 700 on base percentage. He was absolutely absurd. So there's a lot there to be excited about. Yeah. KG, I want to go to you since I just referenced your evaluation year. How do you look at this season as a whole?
I mean, us as fans and even the organization, as the season went along, nobody expected this team to get here. So I'm absolutely happy with how things ended. Of course, you wanted them to win. They should have won Game 4. But as I'm watching Game 5 and after the Lane Thomas Grand Slam, you know, I kind of, at least with me, I kind of just nodded to myself like, this is probably the end of the run. But I'm very happy with what they accomplished. The whole goal of this year was to figure out your core, identify your young players, and who is going to be here for the long term. And I do feel like they made some strides in that department. Yeah. Now, it looked kind of miraculous down the end of the stretch, you know, but we always knew that the model that they were working off of wasn't sustainable. This team still has a lot of holes, especially in the infield and when it comes to pitching. And they endured a lot of injuries this year as well. So going into the offseason, I just really hope that there is a change of philosophy within the higher-ups. And we all know who we talking about. We talking about the owner, man. He has to feed some money into this team in order to support this young cast going forward. And I watched some of the Scott Harris press conference, and he alluded to a couple things. Some things fans may like, some things fans may not like, but they brought up Matt Vierling. You know, this seems to be the type of player that they want to identify in free agency, somebody that can play in the grass and the dirt. He mentioned that specifically. He also brought up the fact that pitching is a absolute thing that they want to focus on going into the years ahead. So I think if you're looking towards, you know, what are the Tigers going to add, you know, in the winter, those are two areas where you can look. They're looking for versatility as far as, you know, what players they add to the infield, and they're going to improve the pitching, I believe, adding probably another arm, a starting arm, and a bullpen arm. But one thing fans may not like, though, it was said that Javy Baez, Javy Baez, they fully expect him to be around for spring training, and they're going to give him the opportunity to make the opening day roster. So take with that what you will. They said they felt like, you know, when he got injured or during the season when he was battling the injury, they felt like his hips weren't necessarily cooperating, and that kind of maybe affected his swing and things. And I know we've heard this stuff before, but I'm just giving you what he said at the podium. But they feel like once, you know, he had the surgery and it went okay, they feel like they can maybe fix Javy Baez. So it appears that we are going to have Javy for at least one more year.
Well, I don't want it. And you know what? It leads me to this, because you mentioned Javy Baez and what Scott Harris said, and I know what he said. I read it, and I'm hoping to God that it's just coach speak or executive speak, and that he doesn't really mean it. But that's why there is an element of disappointment with how this ended, because I'm looking at Javy Baez as if he is in the lineup for even 81 games next year, the Tigers aren't going to the playoffs again, because he has shown over 3 seasons, whether he's healthy or not, that he is one of the worst players in all of Major League Baseball. And last year, he was the worst player in Major League Baseball. You saw what happened when they just replaced him with Trey Sweeney, who he didn't even put up good numbers. He put up less bad numbers, but he had an OPS that started with the 6, and he came through in some really big moments, and we all know defensively he was an upgrade over Javy Baez as well. And that's my point with all of this, is that we think with how young this team is, with guys who you think in theory will take another step, that they're going to be back this next year. But we don't know that. There's still question marks about, can Parker Meadows do it for a full season? Can Riley Green stay healthy again? Can Kerry Carpenter ever stay healthy? Can Reese Olson stay healthy? What are they going to do in the offseason? What are they going to do with Torque? There's a million questions you have to ask, and it still burns me inside, and it'll burn every single one of you inside when I read you this number. In games 4 and 5 combined, the Tigers were 2 for 23 with runners in scoring position.
Ooh, can't win that way.
The Guardians were 6 of 17. Which means that not only did the Guardians, they took advantage more, they had less opportunities. They had less traffic on the base paths. It's just when they got runners on, they delivered, at least in terms of scoring position, and a couple of other numbers that are going to make you really, really depressed and make you kind of feel like this season was a bit of a missed opportunity. Riley Green got on base 3 times in Game 4. He scored 0 times. Parker Meadows in Game 5 got on base all 4 times he was up at the plate. He did not score. Can't happen. Can't happen, and that's to where the Tigers either have to make some additions, some guys have to make some upgrades and some developments, or else maybe the Tigers aren't back. And that's why you have to at least put that out there. And if there's even a thought of Javy Baez being in the lineup, it could all be for nothing.
It appears that way, man. But just wanted to say real quick, they also brought up Torkelson in the press conference. They said they need a lot of work for him in the offseason, and they need him to get to a certain level in order to be a part of this team going forward. But all indications point to they are leaning into the youth movement fully. Like, they are embracing this thing. They kept mentioning that they really want to get more out of their young players and the people that they have in-house already. So this is the philosophy they have going forward. So if you don't see a lot of offseason spending, I would say don't overreact. It absolutely depends on who they go out there and get, but at the same time, you think you've seen enough from your young pieces to maybe justify them leaning into this movement going forward and trying to develop the talent from within. But that's the strategy that they're going with. So I don't know what this winter is going to look like, but expect a lot of the same people to be back.
Go ahead.
No,
I was going to say it's an interesting concept here, because at the beginning of the year, the owner, Chris Hillage, said, we have enough to make the playoffs. And people laughed.
Yeah.
And then they did what they had to do. They made the playoffs. They finished 10 games over 500 during a season where, to start the year, a lot of the AL's Central was a lot hotter than any of us expected. And they still found a way to cash in on that. And it makes me wonder, okay, for us, we're like, okay, so that should be a sign now. Go out there and open up the checkbooks. But I'm hoping it's not a sign in the opposite direction. Like, see, I told y'all we can get it done on this type of a budget. Go out there and make some of these small tweaks, and then we get the scenario that you're talking about, KG, where we see a lot of the same people back next year. And if that's the case, I'd be sorely disappointed. And I think that it would be wasting a good opportunity with some of the young guys that you have discovered. You have to go out there, and you got to move forward appropriately by putting the right types of vets and the right types of bats around it. We just saw what happened. And when you have bats, because let's not act like the Guardians just went out there and slugged us out. They had some lucky hits, but it was from guys like just off the knob of the bat and things like that. But it's from guys that, when they step to the plate, generally they're going to be a decent hitter. When you have those types of guys in your lineup, you afford yourself those types of opportunities as well.
Sure. And I'd like for them to spend a little bit more money, but if they're going to go Moneyball, Jesse Winker.
Hey,
here you go.
All roads.
You know that I will be the happiest man alive if all they do is DFA Baez and get Jesse Winker.
All night Wink show.
And that's not hyperbole, by the way. Jesse Winker is one of the most undervalued players in Major League Baseball. But speaking of philosophies, I want to get everybody's temperature in the room of how you're feeling about Scott Harris overall after his second season of the president of baseball operations. But first, I have to tell you about Les Stanford. What happens when you run a great business for over 50 years? You expand and offer more products to more people. This is exactly what Les Stanford did by adding Les Stanford Buick GMC, the same great service that customers have come to know and trust on Woodward Avenue just south of 9 Mile. Check out Les Stanford in Dearborn today at lesstanford.com. Les Stanford Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids, all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
Can't get enough Lions coverage? Make sure you catch all Woodward sports shows every game day. Wake up with Woodward and Maine, giving you the latest insight into the Lions locker room and press conferences. Then join the Lions pregame show, highlighting key matchups, injuries, and what to watch for during the game. Follow all the ups and downs of the live game action with our Woodward Watch Party live on YouTube and WoodwardSports.com. After the game, check out the instant fan and host reactions with the Lions postgame show. Every game, it's wall-to-wall, kneecap-biting, high-fiving, chest-pumping Lions coverage.
Hell yeah!
Only at Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
Woodward Sports, let's go.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
Hey, let me tell you about the new Holland Brewing Company watch party and post-game show. Hey, it's live at Hayes Socials in Shelby Township, and we want you guys out there to watch party. We get things kicked off for the Lions game with the heavyweights and other Woodward Sports personalities. And then the post-game show with Stick and Anton. You're getting your instant analysis as soon as the game ends. You're also getting some good food, some good drink, and you get to cheer on the brand new Detroit Lions with all of the other fans that show up too, and it's a great environment. If you check out the stream on Woodward Sports, your #1 sports network, then I know what you guys already know. Brought to you by Tangerine Space Machine, Total Your Local Laundry, 1800 Tequila, Sabbath Coffee, and Soroki's.
Absolutely, yeah, tequila, tequila. But this is 1800 we're talking about. 1800 Tequila, official tequila of Woodward Sports Lions watch parties and post-game show. Join 1800 Tequila and Woodward Sports every Lions game live at Hayes Social in Shelby Township and celebrate the wins with smooth 1800 Tequila, proud sponsor of your Detroit Lions. 1800 Tequila, the best taste in tequila. Drink responsibly.
Hey, what up, though, people? We are back. It is Wake Up Woodward, and we've talked extensively about both Jungle Cats. Hey, you know what? The Lions, we expect them to get to the playoffs. The Tigers, they got to the playoffs. It's a good place that Detroit sports is in right now, and we're hoping that the Tigers can really move to cement their place. And that, it all depends on what one Mr. Scott Harris, president of baseball operations for the Tigers, does.
And Scott Harris and AJ Hinch were they spoke yesterday, and there is a clip of them, which JB, I'll have you play in a second, which they're discussing, you know, some future guys who Scott Harris and AJ Hinch are obviously giddy about. Go ahead, JB.
One quick addition. When I first took this job, I used to talk about our prospects a lot, and he used to roll his eyes like crazy. And now he's already talking about big league camp and which ones are going to be there and how excited he is.
That's just a subtle reference to some young players that have earned the right to come to big league camp. You guys can guess who those guys are. See you soon, Max, Kevin.
Oh, now you're making the decision.
Lorenzo. I got a lot of wish lists for big league camp.
That video was courtesy of Rachel Hopmeyer.
Shout out.
Thank you for that. And yeah, it sounds like both Scott Harris and AJ Hinch.
I get them mixed up all the time.
All the time.
Scott Harris and AJ Hinch are very excited about the future of the Tigers and certain prospects. They mentioned Max Clark, they mentioned Kevin McGonigal, and they mentioned Tyron Lorenzo. We are all very, very excited about that. But I want to ask you first, KG, because you've been somebody who's been pretty steadfast in your belief in the vision that Scott Harris has. How would you rate the job he's done in his first 2 seasons?
I think it's been pretty solid. I wouldn't give him an A by any stretch of the imagination, but I think he's at least in the B range if I have to give it a grade. His talent evaluation, especially for young players, seems to be there. The farm system is in the best place it's been in quite some time, and that's something that we could not say about Al Avila. Like, while Al Avila did pick decent players, the development was in terms of, you know, how they handled the farm system was way off, and I believe that Scott Harris has done a good job of bringing that back to relevance, to the point where not only do they have talent that they can bring up, but they also have pieces that they can move via trade if they had to. So I want to give him a nod for that. Of course, where we do need to see him improve is his free agent acquisitions. We haven't seen him really get in the dirt And, of course, you got to ask yourself, how much leash does he really have with ownership and his ability to really go out there and get the players that he wants? But, I mean, you saw the Eduardo Rodriguez deal kind of fall through this year. Most of the free agents that you signed aren't on the roster anymore. Yes, you did trade and get something for them. You didn't just let those contracts expire and get nothing. But at the same time, you got to worry about, like, how does he evaluate bringing in people externally? And that's the only knock that I would have against him at this point. His philosophy seems to be building through pitching and, infield defense. And those are two things that the Tigers seem to do well. They can improve upon those, but so far so good from 2 years of what we've seen from Scott Harris. I just want him to continue to build from here.
Yeah, definitely. I like where we're at with Scott Harris. I know that Broder, he talked extensively about the work that he was doing and that a lot of it might not be seen right away because it was organizational wide, which also includes our minors. Getting the right coaches, getting the right regimens, getting the right programs, even the way that you treat the guys down in the minors. Because ultimately, not just if those guys are going to come up here to your big roster, do you want them to be in their best possible position to contribute, but also when you have guys like Parker Meadows going down to the Mud Hens, you need everything right for those guys that you're trying to depend on if you're talking about leaning into a youth movement. And so from that structure, from getting some of these baseball minds in here and whatnot, I know AJ Hinch has something to do with that as well. I like where they're at in that department. And largely, I believe if he's given the opportunity to spend, I trust him with that. Mm-hmm. But if not, that's where I'm like, is there somebody better suited than he to try and make something happen on the fly with a little bit of money?
I don't think so at this point.
Right.
And it's funny because this is where baseball is just a funny sport. It's kind of like hockey in that regard, where you think, yeah, Scott Harris's second year, they're in the playoffs. Of course it's a success. But unfortunately, and we have to bring these up, when you look at some of their top 100 prospects, Jackson Jobe and Jace Young, those were Avila guys, Riley Green, Tarek Skubal, I mean, on and on and on. You can talk about Colt Keith. You can talk about Parker Meadows. Mm-hmm. A lot of those guys are Al Avila guys.
True, that they salvaged, but...
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But my point with all of that is that there's a reason why Al Avila, we still don't like to give him credit, because before Scott Harris got there, they weren't really being developed properly. There was some organizational wide rot that was rampant when Al Avila was here, and he couldn't win a trade to save his life.
Nothing was coming to fruition.
No.
It's like, hey, cool. So you showed me that you can plant a tree. But, bro, where are the apples, bro? Right. Where are the apples? Hey. It was just like they were never coming to fruition.
And I'll tell you what, when it comes to Scott Harris, he has made his imprint on the team. Don't get it twisted. Not just for the future, but right now. Let's start with the future, though. Yeah. Max Clark, number 6 prospect out of the MLB Top 100. Kevin McGonigal, 31. Bryce Rayner, 56. That's pretty good. I think they're setting themselves up pretty well for the future. And also, Tyrone Lorenzo, who is not a top 100 prospect, during his time with the West Michigan Whitecaps in the Detroit Tigers organization, was a 1.031 OPS. That pretty much blew away his numbers in the Dodgers organization, which you love to see that Scott Harris had the foresight to grab somebody who maybe hadn't lived up to his potential yet, but now he's living up in the Tigers organization. You love to see it. And it's not just with the future. You have to remember the Jack Flaherty acquisition. That was a hell of an acquisition, who Jack Flaherty then pitched maybe the best ball of his career and got flipped for Tyrone Lorenzo and Trey Sweeney, who was integral to this Tigers' success. They don't make the playoffs if it's Ryan Kreidler or Javy Baez. No way in hell. You needed a guy like Trey Sweeney, and he was that sort of buy by selling, which is an amazing feat with Scott Harris in and of itself. But it's not just those guys. Justin Henry Malloy was a Scott Harris acquisition. Up and down regular season, but we saw the dividends he paid in the playoffs. How about the trade for Matt Vierling? You want to talk about how Al Avila never wins a trade? Basically what you got was Matt Vierling for Gregory Soto. Gregory Soto was obviously somebody who maybe pitched above his talent level at times for the Tigers, but we knew he's mid. We knew that there's times where he can't find the strike zone. And guess what he's been ever since then? A very mid relief pitcher. Yes, and sir. Matt Vierling, I want to give this guy credit. Most at-bats on the team, second in runs, second in hits, most doubles, third most home runs. When you really paint that picture, he's one of your best players. And Scott Harris made what looks like a fleecing of Philadelphia for him. But that's not all. Andy Ibanez, that was a Scott Harris guy.
Yep.
Again, you can think what you want about Andy Ibanez, but against left-handed pitching, he's dynamite, and he did clear the bases with that 3-run double in Game 2 of the Wild Card Series. You don't win that game without Andy Ibanez, and that's worth its weight in gold. And then you want to look at the bullpen, Tyler Holton. Tyler Holton was a Cy Young caliber relief pitcher. That was somebody who Scott Harris just basically got off the scrap heap. And it's not just that. 2 of his first moves Scott Harris ever made were some little-known guys late in 2022, just a couple months after he got hired, by the names of Brendan Hanafy and Sean Gunther. Nobody knew who those guys were, because why would you? Look how big they were down the stretch for the Tigers during their run and in the playoffs. So my point with all of that is the future seems to be set up well with Scott Harris, but he did his fingerprints were on this team. There were plenty of Al Avila guys, we know that, but philosophically, organizational wide, and even some of these important pieces that helped fuel a Tigers playoff run, those were Scott Harris guys. So all of that taken into consideration, I think he's done a great job.
Yeah, and to put that in basketball terms, it's like we like the young guys that the Pistons have right now.
Yeah.
And you can call those guys Troy Weaver guys.
Sure. Yeah.
Cade,
Yeah.
Jaden Ivey, Asar, and some of the guys that you're going to come to love and know and love. But ultimately, they weren't doing right by those guys in terms of the vets, the development process, to the point that you hear them talking today about, things seem so much more clear and understandable now from the coaching standpoint. Things are so much more organized now. Like someone online, we talked about it before and laughed, like they're playing music in the gym. I don't remember a time that I practiced and we didn't have music in the gym. That just doesn't make sense to me. And I didn't even peep it last year. But it was like the people out there were like, oh, snap, there's music in the clips. Like, yo, they're doing that at practice this year.
Yeah.
And it's a culture changer. And to me, what it really states and it shows is big picture. Now that you have a Trajan Langdon in place with that big picture point of view, people can see something a little bit more. And that, to me, is what Scott Harris is. He's more of a big picture guy. So if there are some young players here, I can figure out how they actually mesh and how to get them to work within the system. And if not, then listen, it's time to move on, especially if they're not your original guys. And so that's what I really appreciate about Scott Harris is I feel like he has his pulse on all the way around. He understands what AJ Hinch is, what this squad needs. If we have a little bit of money, if we have a lot of money, he has this whole thing kind of at the scope.
That is an interesting comparison because we talk about the Pistons. We think that if they're going to win, Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, and Jalen Duren are going to be big parts of it.
Yep.
Those weren't Trajan Langdon draft picks. Those were Troy Weaver draft picks. So, you know what? Nice upgrading the GM position pretty much all around Detroit sports.
All around.
Because even with the Lions, we talk about like Taylor Decker and Frank Ragnow. They were technically Bob Quinn guys, but right now we've got the guys in place who we like, and I think will lead all of these Detroit teams back to success, and the Lions are already there, and the Tigers took a very nice step as well. But speaking of success, the Boys and Girls Club, which will lead us into what's trending, which is also a big success. Join the best youth football league in Metro Detroit. The Boys and Girls Clubs of Southeastern Michigan's 3C Sports League offers youth ages 5 to 14 with 6 exciting teams to choose from in Detroit, Belleville, Highland Park, and East Point. All coaches are trained, certified, and undergo background checks. Register for football or cheer at bgcsm.org. Equipment, meals, and transportation included, all for a chance to play for a championship at Ford Field for just $175 per child. Put the youth back at youth sports with BGCSM.
Do it.
3C
Hey,
Sports.
their final is this Saturday.
There we go.
At Ford Field. It's this Saturday at Ford Field. Shout out to everybody who's going to be participating. We're going to make sure that those youth out there, they have a good time and they can see themselves on this platform here, Woodward Sports. Shout out to the Boys and Girls Club of Southeast Michigan and 3C Sports.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer, is kicking off the game with the best prices on all cars, trucks, and SUVs, like this 2024 Silverado for just $296 a month, or this 2025 Equinox for as low as $371 a month. Our locations in Novi, Highland, New Hudson, Livonia, and Lansing means we have the perfect Chevy right in your backyard. Get the home team advantage every day at Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports. Can't get enough Lions coverage? Make sure you catch all Woodward sports shows every game day. Wake up with Woodward and Maine, giving you the latest insight into the Lions locker room and press conferences. Then join the Lions pregame show, highlighting key matchups, injuries, and what to watch for during the game. Follow all the ups and downs of the live game action with our Woodward Watch Party live on YouTube and WoodwardSports.com. After the game, check out the instant fan and host reactions with the Lions postgame show. Every game, it's wall-to-wall, kneecap-biting, high-fiving, chest-pumping Lions coverage.
Hell yeah!
Only at Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
Woodward Sports, let's go.
Hey, you want to know what the best a pregame Lions party is for every single home game? It's right in the city. Detroit's very own second best bar located on 42 Watson Street for the ultimate fan experience. Enjoy some smooth Tullamore Dew Irish whiskey while catching the Woodward Sports pregame show only at second best bar. Come get some.
Absolutely. And hey, get yourself some weed afterwards.
Some weed.
How would you like to win
Stay off the weed.
one of the greatest bits in the history of TV?
Right.
Would you like to win a free? How would you like to win free bud for a year? That's right. Free smoke, weed, reefer, flower, however you refer to your favorite cannabis.
Marijuana.
God, this was tailor-made for me.
Oh
It's your
my
chance to win
God.
free cannabis for a year. Compliments of Dispo Dispensary. All you have to do is scan the QR code on the screen right there. Sign up and you'll be entered for a chance to win. Don't miss out on this insane giveaway. Sign up today to elevate your game. Dispo Dispensary, your local plug. Must be 21 or older to enter. Terms and conditions apply.
Oh, man, yo. Shout out to Dispo, man. Shout out to Swisher Break. And it's almost that time to spark up.
I need one.
Word to JB Smooth. Hey, ain't this the time, right?
Yeah.
Hey, let's get this thing cooking, man. Let's spark up.
And now it's time for the most electrifying segment on the internet. Bum, bum, bum. It's What's Trending with JB. Live on Wake Up Woodward.
Fresh off his smoke, Jay Bizzle.
Let's ride. Woo, woo,
Yo,
woo.
what's going on, fellas?
What up, though?
I always appreciate
What's
the
up?
fact that you kept the Detroit sign in the What's Trending.
Oh my God.
Thank you,
that
brother.
I had to. I just had to.
You the only one that like that sign.
And you are the only one that really likes
Hey,
that sign.
have any of you guys seen it in person?
Yes.
Yeah, I drove past it.
It looks like clip art. Once again, still.
They could have did better still. I'm still hating on it. I'm
Not
sorry.
just regular clip art, but from like paint days.
It's clip art from like Windows 95.
Right.
Like come on now.
Fucking Times New Roman font. Like, I don't understand. Like, what are we doing here?
Size 12.
Unbelievable.
Do better by my city, man.
I know, right? Come on, just do better. But you know who did do better? The Lions when they were out in Dallas, and the fans even showed out for it as well.
Oh my God.
You walking his deck.
Walking the dead Dak Prescott,
Oh
you
my
know.
gosh.
Just had
Come
to
on,
do
Dak. Come on.
it. You can do it, little buddy. You can do it.
He can't.
But he's dead already.
Right? Oh, man. Love to see it.
You love to see it. I just had to show you guys that just a little bit.
man.
But also, man.
Chase chimed in.
Oh,
He
God.
said-
What Chase say?
He said, y'all just hate on the sign just to hate.
We're not hating on the sign just to
That
hate.
shit is terrible. What are we talking about?
I heard Flannel really say maybe 5 words about the sign, but I mentioned what Chase said. That's all Sam.
No. Honestly, I'm not even. I don't feel too strongly about the sign either way. But at Chase's, he's the ultimate devil's advocate, man.
Right.
And sometimes it's needed, and sometimes you're like, damn, it's just like a nice little fly in the ointment. But we love you, Chase. We love you, Chase.
I got one quick
You can
way
have your
that
opinion.
you can fix the sign today. You leave the rest of the font, take the D off, and put the English D right there.
That helps.
Fixed. Like, it's not hard, man.
That little ding ding sound. You got in there,
Thank you, bro. It's not
There you
fucking
go.
hard. If you get more creative people, which the city has plenty of to do this type of shit, then the shit will look better. But continue. I digress.
It's a slight improvement. I'll give you that. If you switch up the D with the old English D,
And keep
I
the
would
rest
like
of the
it.
font. Just put the English D at the front.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
man.
it's an improvement. And once again, it's an improvement right there. I know last week I told you how came out here and said he still got it. He can still play, but sometimes Unc just ain't got it anymore.
Man, let me see this.
Oh! His stick. Ooh. Damn. My man. All right. So you didn't get low enough. That's number one. Number two is raining. You got them Timbs on. You stuck in the fucking ground. Like, what were you gonna do?
Oh,
Third,
man.
you sagging. So it's like there was no way you should not have gotten trucked by.
And he had the momentum
dog.
too, dog. He slid into that one, bro. Like, I looked at it, he was like, you know what?
Right.
Here we go, right here.
Little
The momentum.
Little dog didn't even get that much of a running start though. Like
you saw the momentum, you saw him slide into it.
Yeah.
And it's raining. I got to be honest with you. I was out. We were practicing. Me and the Kool-Aid, crew for the JJ elbow with my kids. I juke my kids too, but body don't work the way it used to, man. And I found myself like rolling down the little hill. My kids was like, Dad, are you okay? I was like, leave me alone.
Man,
Leave me alone.
I'll tell you what. I know a lot of people in the chat who are above the age of like 50 are going to be like, shut up. But getting old does kind of blow.
Yeah, it does. Clearly.
I mean, we're all in our
Just
30s.
a little bit,
We're all in
yeah.
our 30s. We're not spring chickens anymore. We're not like, Chase, who's still a whippersnapper.
Right.
So
Don't remind me.
My advice to Chase, because I know you're watching, just enjoy your youth, man.
Damn.
It's coming for you.
It's coming for everyone.
Damn. Oh man, and finally I will end what's trending with this. I hope you guys are hungry, but I don't know if you want to eat this pizza. It seems a little burnt on the bottom.
Oh! Not the sander though. He took the sander out.
Sander, bro.
No, bro. I'm mad it's low key working too, but you can't eat that pizza. You cannot eat that shit, bro.
It's a diamond fine grit right there,
That's
bro.
a grit pizza. Come on.
Dog. Talk about not wanting to waste food. This shit is crazy, man. You know you're not supposed to eat burnt shit. It's like bad for your body, bro. Like you are.
It's clean now. It's clean.
Like
It's cooking at it.
I'm good, man.
Yeah.
I'm good, man. Just make another one, bro.
After he shaved it
Look
all
at all
off.
that black coming off.
That's all your cheese, all your toppings, everything. You just eat
Holy shit.
a disc of bread, bro.
He took the sander out though.
After it's cleaned off, is it salad ready?
Dude, honestly, I didn't do this. I just sucked it up and ate the burntness.
You are crazy.
That's wild.
You going to the grave, my dog.
This is
you gotta stop.
In college, we all have our broke college
Well, true,
stories. So
true.
I got this one individual pizza from Aldi.
Yeah.
And I accidentally
little
instead
toaster
of
oven.
instead of bake, put broil.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Yep,
And,
that'll do it.
It looked a little bit like that, but I just had to suck it up. That's what I could afford back then.
Because you're right.
Yeah.
There's times when it's like, dog, that was all my money. So you gotta eat it. Gotta eat it, bro. Like I've been there.
Dog,
good,
the chat going crazy, man. LFG, the gristle, Scuba built for it. Red Wings fan club, that's a grinder. Oh my god!
I like Little Caesars. It's gotten so much better. But back in the day when it got cold, like 5 minutes left out in the air.
Yeah, it wasn't
I'm
this.
so glad that they have changed up that recipe. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Shout out to you guys.
Oh, shout
Future
out.
sponsors.
Y'all can have that shit.
That's
I'm
it
good.
that's it for what's trending, you guys. Let's hop into some mailbag.
Take a L on the pizza,
Tell us
bro.
about Soroki's first, JB.
Oh yeah, I got you. Let me tell you about
Hey.
Soroki's. Hold on.
Where
we at?
Chicken.
Soroki's
Pizza that
wings,
never
chickens,
gets that
pizza. Yes, that pizza will never get burned. Let me tell you right now,
Perfect
Soroki's
segue.
also has a limited time offer just in time for football season as well. Soroki's is debuting their signature flavored wings. Grab your friends, order a New York style pizza, add some fresh wings on for game day this weekend. Try one of their 7 different flavors. And remember, you always can order online at Sorokis.com. You know they got some deals for you as well. But let me also send it over to Flannel to tell you about Mark White.
Absolutely. Dreaming of a new home but feeling the financial pinch? Mark White & Associates, your trusted real estate experts, are here to help. Mark White and his team will pay up to $5,000 of your closing costs. That's right, I said $5,000. Call Mark White & Associates today at 248-290-8242 or visit them at markwhitesales.com. Again, call Mark White today at 248-290-8242 to make your dreams come true.
man. Feldman,
which is where we were at yesterday. We did a show live from the Feldman in Novi. It's Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer and has been that way since 2019. They're going for a 6P. And after how they hooked up Neil Rule with his new EV, they are going to get that 6P because they hooked up Neil, they hooked up myself, they even hooked up Matt Broder as well. And it was a painless experience. I was even a little upside down on my loan, and I still got a good deal, and I'm still satisfied with my Chevy Trax to this day. So go support our sponsors. Go to Feldman, ask for JP, ask for Francis, or ask for Ryan Palter if you go to the one in Novi. It's Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
Hey, and you guys already know, man. I got all them kids. I saw
this is funny, bro.
You saw that in the chat because I'm gonna get to that question, but definitely, man. Feldman, they said they're gonna take care of me, man. Gotta
you're
give me a new 3-row. I'm gonna be joining soon, so I can't wait. Got to talk to them a little bit yesterday, looking for that all black 3-row Chevy Traverse. Black out the windows.
All right,
let's rock, man. But where was that question at, bro?
Steven DeYoung, man. Steven DeYoung, bro.
Feldman Mailbag. Does Kool-Aid call his children his Kool-Aid packets? You know what? He just gave me a great idea, dog.
Right.
They're going to love that. Definitely will. But I saw another one in here as well about the Pistons. It's pretty interesting as well because I've heard this kind of come up amongst the media room and other content creators. From Shad, Feldman Mailbag with Stewart's, and that's Isaiah Stewart, projected improvement for the season. Do you think there will be playoff teams who will make offers for him? Listen, there were playoff teams who wanted him last year. The issue is this. As you're building a culture, Tobias Harris, he wants to be here for now, but what happens in a couple years when that contract is done? You got to have your culture setters. Isaiah Stewart is one of your better trade assets. Good contract right now, especially with where things are on the market for his type of player, and he's proving that he can stretch the floor still. It's looking consistent. He's definitely a good trade candidate, but I just wonder sometimes with the culture aspect, there are people within the kind of close to the situation. I do believe he's one of those identity setters for the Pistons.
Yeah, and that's fair, but what if somebody overpays for an Isaiah Stewart?
You gotta take advantage.
Because I'm just looking at, let's just go with the Milwaukee Bucks. They could probably, every contending team could use a guy like Isaiah Stewart.
Bucks.
Yeah.
That would be kind of, get him out the Central though.
Yeah, I mean, that would be nice for him in that scenario, but let's hope that Isaiah Stewart proves himself, which he already did last year, as a part of this team moving forward, and they can actually win with him. Maybe not this year, but in the next couple of years.
I feel like a team that really needs him, they're trying to go all in right now, I believe is Dallas.
Oh, they could use Isaiah Stewart.
That's the one I've been sitting there like, you know what? Find a way to make something work. You even got Tim Hardaway Jr. here, who still got good relationships with some of those. Find some way to get that thing done, because that would be a great piece for them. Yeah. And I do believe they have some things. I'm gonna look at it again.
Yeah, I was about to say, what you getting back?
We're gonna talk about it tomorrow.
All right,
maybe.
For sure.
You tease, you big tease.
I've been thinking about it. Oh man, but let's tee up the next mailbag question. Unless you guys got something to say about it as well. Isaiah Stewart, KG, what up? What you think about it, brother?
I am looking for mailbag questions. Mailbag, Feldman Mailbag. Aaron Rodgers says Mike Williams ran the wrong route on late game interception in the Bills' loss. Will Aaron Rodgers ever blame himself for just sucking so much?
No. The quick answer to that is no.
Yeah.
He will never blame himself. I don't think Mike Williams ran the wrong route. He just slipped.
He just fell.
Yeah. You can't blame him for that.
It's funny because I literally said on E&E yesterday, after they lose this game, what will Aaron Rodgers' excuse be this time? And lo and behold, he ran the wrong route.
It's not about what will the excuse be. It's just which player is he going to throw under the bus next. That stick says what? World's greatest teammate? Aaron Rodgers?
Well, and for the record, I actually think that particular play was Mike Williams' fault. But you can't say that in a post-game press conference.
Yeah.
Because Mike Williams, I don't even know if he ran the wrong route. He just fell down. But
because there were times when we knew that J-Mo here, there was some times we could see it. Like, bro, turn your head the other way or run that way. When he's getting comfortable, I don't ever really remember Jared Goff stepping to the podium and saying that. I remember him stepping to the podium and saying, I got to be better. Yeah, we can improve a little bit.
You stick up for your fucking guys. But this is Aaron Rodgers' whole problem, man. Greg Jennings has told you. There has been players that have played with him that have told you he is this player, man. And I think that New York media is getting to him, which I knew would eventually happen, and I just love to see it, man. I love to see the downfall.
You know that I'm more of an Aaron Rodgers defender than some, and I know none of you like it, but that's fine. I don't want to hear anything Greg Jennings has to say about Aaron Rodgers. Greg Jennings should be thankful for Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
Should be thankful.
All right.
Who'd he put up his best numbers with? I know he had some time with Favre, but
clearly Aaron Rodgers. I'm just saying he's always. There have been stories for years about how bad of a teammate Aaron Rodgers is.
And I'm just gonna say that touchdown that he caught in the Super Bowl from Aaron Rodgers was one of the best throws I've ever seen in my life.
Well, maybe if he was a better teammate, they would have won more Super Bowls.
That's fine. That's fair. I can't. Yeah,
they wasn't supposed to beat that Steelers team that year too. I'm still mad about that. But go ahead.
Because Aaron Rodgers had Super Bowl MVP. But anywho, this isn't an Aaron Rodgers
Steelers
choked.
Hour. Steelers choked.
I wonder who was at the helm of that Steelers team. The greatest coach that ever lived.
Relax.
We all know if he would. Hey, if he were coaching this Chiefs team, they'd have won 7 Super Bowls.
They would have.
Oh, stop it. Man, if he would have had the Patriots situation, he would have won 14 Super Bowls instead of 6.
Mike Tomlin?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he would. He would have.
Okay.
He's Bill Cowher and Sean Payton, and that's fine. That's fine. But anywho, I'll get off
He
my
better than
soapbox.
Bill Cowher, but continue. We will be here all day. We'll be here all fucking day with this shit.
Oh,
hopefully some mailbag questions that
you
came
know
at
what?
that time.
So he throws somebody under the bus just last night. And breaking news: how does Aaron Rodgers rewarded Davante Adams to the Jets?
Oh,
Davante, according to Jordan Schultz, Davante Adams to the Jets.
Oh, come on.
How long until Aaron Rodgers blames him for something?
Well, I think Davante Adams is special in his eyes.
Too little, too late.
Well, hey, but that's a good move for the Jets.
The Jets have money for this?
Yeah, they do, but it's just like if you Davante, why would you go from one dysfunction to a even greater dysfunction in the Jets?
Because his football heaven was Green Bay, and that was his quarterback. You saw what it's been for him since with like the Aiden O'Connells of the world. That's from his perspective.
Well, I'm sorry to say, Davante, you won't win anything.
And Aaron Rodgers isn't the same guy as he was back then. I understand that. I'm looking at it from his perspective.
Enjoy the last 10 games that you got with this guy, because that's about it. Hey, Aaron Rodgers has done that,
and that's fine.
Hey, I don't want to say I told you so, but I told y'all so that he was going to end up back there with his best friend once again, and Aaron Rodgers. So look to see what happened.
Damn.
All right, well, mailbag question. Randall Smalls, Philman mailbag, plus or minus 5 sacks against the Vikings this Sunday.
Minus. With all due respect.
That's a high number.
No, Randall Smalls has been one that's like, they're fine. They're just going to... Josh Pascal's going to get 3 sacks this week, right? And I'm not trying to be snarky. 5 sacks is insane. I don't know if I would pick them to get 5 sacks even with Aiden Hutchinson. As I said with the Vikings, and we're going to get into this matchup within this coming week, probably more on Thursday and Friday. The Vikings, they've got a really good tackle duo. So I don't think whoever they've got as next man up will get 5 sacks. And that's okay, by the way. Find a way to get 1 or 2 or 3.
Goodness. So things got a little bit spicy there, man. Davante Adams to the Jets. That's going to be interesting because I still don't expect anything of the Jets or of Aaron Rodgers, but I can't deny that Aaron Rodgers still has some game, and Davante Adams, as you said, Flannel, is special. It's going to be interesting, man. Teams are trying everything they can in this NFC. Ultimately, I believe these squads are just going to be chasing and telling the Detroit Lions.
Sure.
I love what Dan Campbell said. We are not panicked. Not us, not me, not Brad, not the players. We're going to see what we got right here. We're going to change things up a little bit. We're going to see the character and the makeup of our guys. Why not?
Yeah.
Adversity presents you with some opportunities. It might not be the path you want to go down, but you know what? You're going to figure out about your squad right now. And I like this squad, man. I do. So is that a show?
I think so.
Absolutely.
Hey, let's get that going. Hey, great job. Today we got you know what? He made this happen today. He came in here with this Jets colored flannel on.
Right.
Come on.
Defend your boy.
I'm starting to put 2 and 2 together, though.
Yeah, man.
I'm starting
Him and Maz, man. You gotta watch him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, snap. Yo, shout out to intern Chase, who was here earlier. Shout out to that dude, Justin, working hard behind the scenes for the WUW Crew. And you guys see him on the weekends here for Lions games as well. Shout out to Matthew Broder. Love you always. Our brother. But let's talk about this elite, wonderful, stupendous, great, magnificent, better than the rest. I'm talking about some dogs. If you x-ray their chest, you guys are not messing with my booth because they're better than yours. In the sound booth, I'm talking about Detroit's #1 draft pick, KG, aka Black Hollywood.
You can do a little better next time. I tried to let you rock. I tried to give you an ISO and see what you was gonna do with it, and it was almost there.
I scored, man. I still scored, though.
Yeah. Right. I guess, man. But no, shout out to the chat and shout out to my team, man. Love doing this with y'all every week, man. We gonna finish strong, and also me and JB got some things down the pipe as far as wrestling goes that we will be revealing soon. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah, definitely, because you guys are two of our kind of fighting aficionados, whether it's from wrestling, and there's a whole lot of different wrestling to cover there.
Yeah.
UFC and the mixed martial arts stuff.
Yep.
Boxing.
I'm a big boxing guy,
for the Clarissa Shields match here in the city.
It was dope.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, you know what? I can't wait to see what you guys cook up for us. Definitely.
Big facts.
In the TD, I'm sorry.
It is
it's
a Tuesday.
And to the booth it is Woodward Sports MVP with a crispy hat on. JB Smooth.
All natural.
Hey, you know I had to throw on the Lions hat. It was a little chilly this morning. Hopefully it warms up a little bit during the day. But man, once again, another great show from you guys. I know it's a little bit of a somber moment. We're still trying to recover and seeing what moves are being made next for this Detroit Lions team. But just know, trust in Brad Holmes. He's got this for you. And Aaron Rodgers, I see you, man. That's messed up. It's messed up, man. Cold-blooded. Threw Mike Williams under the bus just so you could bring over Devontae Adams.
Hey.
How could you do that?
And you know what? That right there. Vet of the squad, vet of the network, Flannel, Sam. Great show today, brother.
Oh, thank you. And you as well. And I missed the Tigers already.
Uh-oh.
Hey, what up, Dusty?
Did you guys know yesterday was Jared Goff's birthday?
We did.
Just wanted to make sure.
You said it 100 times. Yeah.
I have a very short memory from yesterday's show, so I think I forgot.
And that is from Stick, the official Jared Goff spokesman of Woodward Sports.
Hey, Dad Gang. Love the hat, bro.
Oh, man, my boy Limpy gave this to me at the wedding. So, yeah, cool gift. He walked right up to the table when everybody came up to take their pictures, sat on the table. So
that's what's up, bro.
Yeah, Dad Gang hats. I saw another dude in the airport on my honeymoon with one. I was like, Dad Gang.
Yep. We were out somewhere, I believe we were at Ally Challenge.
Yep.
You got some Dad Gang people. Shout out. So that's dope, man.
Yeah.
Dope.
Well, I've never even heard of the brand, so good stuff. I have a kid, so I get to wear it.
Hey, the Jets, they sent the 2025 third round pick.
Hey.
What?
For what?
Devontae. He got traded to the Jets.
For a third round pick?
Yeah. I didn't see if there was anything
They're clearing house in Oakland. Let's go get Max.
Yeah.
Hey, there we go.
Let's go get Max.
That's another angle.
Fire sale. Fire sale.
Stop. Don't get me stuck
Fire sale. Get rid of it all. Burn it down.
I don't want to get my hopes up.
Burn it down, Oakland or Las Vegas.
All right, I'm on board. Burn it down.
Burn it all to the ground.
Detroit. Right, Flannel?
Oh, yeah.
Let's rock.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, it's your boy Brendan, a.k.a. Detroit Kool-Aid, your credential Pistons reporter and writer for the network. We appreciate you guys for kicking off the day with the WUW Crew. Go ahead and smash that like button if you already have not. If you have, make sure you guys are sharing this stream everywhere that you can to support your boys. Thank you guys for being here. Hey, there you go.
Yeah,
Max.
I just had to throw it up. Just had to throw it up.
Have a day, y'all. Have a blessed one.